Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto stops Danzo from being Hokage. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by FOXYKYUU15 and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Naruto was stunned into silence. Happy silence. His arms were thrown out and he laughed as the villagers threw him into the air, only to catch him, again and again. Cheers sounded throughout the entirety of the destroyed village, but thanks to Naruto's charisma and ideals, he had convinced Nagato to realize his faults. And so Nagato, to repent, resurrected all of the people of Konoha who had been killed by his hand, using Jito Art Rin Rebirth. Naruto couldn't be happier. Everyone was near him now, praising him as the hero of Konoha. Ino, Shikamaru, Choji, Lee, Tenten, Niji, Sakura, Kiba, Shino, and Hinata. Hinata. He really needed to talk to her about what she had told him, how she risked her life to save him when pain had managed to pin him to the ground. Honestly, he was surprised that she had done that, after all he had known that she liked him. He wasn't as oblivious as everyone thought, he had spent years around perverts like Chiji, Hirosenin, and Kakashi-sensei. But to think that she actually loved him. Was it because of his Nindo? The fact that he would never give up. The fact that no matter what he would protect his precious people, even if he had to die. The fact that even with what Konoha had done to him in the past, he forgave them. Despite all the hate that they had given him. Despite how they had ignored him, which was honestly a more brutal kind of torture than assassination attempts by your own father, Gaara had admitted. Despite how they refused to teach him when he was younger, which was why he was dead last. Despite how they had allowed him to starve by ignoring his existence barring Am Nichin and Tuchijai which had stunted his growth. Despite how they had whispered insults behind his back. Despite how they kept their children away. Despite how truly painful his life was, he forgave them. And now Konoha had accepted him. Iruka watched fondly as Guy and Lee bombarded Naruto with questions. He could tell that Konohamaru wanted to join them, but he was currently supporting Abisu, who was giving a small smile as he spoke aloud how his opinion on the blonde Jinchuriki had changed for the better. Even with all the damage that had befallen Konoha, there were no casualties. Every single citizen of Konohagakure was here to cheer on their savior, the one who had managed to not lose himself in hatred and revenge. Everyone was happy. And it was because of Naruto, the hero. Iruka couldn't be more proud. Shikaku watched with pride as Minato's son was finally acknowledged by his village. He saw the joy and even the disbelief that came from a life of being betrayed. Because of the Nara head's strong bonds with the Yondaime and his wife, the Nara clan had always watched over Naruto from the shadows. This applied to all of the clans, even the Hyuga and Uchiha, until their destruction at least. They hadn't been allowed to do much, but discreetly leaving out food whenever possible, so that the council wouldn't catch wind of it was the most that they could do. He glanced over his shoulder and sighed, muttering a troublesome under his breath as he saw the Anbu appear there. Might as well get it over with. What is it? Narasama. The Anbu inclined his head politely. The council has called a meeting to discuss the terms of reconstructing the village. They may also be planning on discussing the topic of deciding who the Rakudame may be, considering Lady Godame is incapacitated. The brunette's eyes narrowed imperceptibly, but nonetheless he nodded. The only sign that the two had been there were the leaves gently drifting to the earth. Due to being the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, Naruto heard all of the conversations going on around him. From Hinata's to the Inyazukas, especially Shino and Kiba, to where Ino said that she could almost fall for him, which made him smirk and almost laugh. Not too long after they put him down and he talked with the young children who wanted to see the hero, smiling at each and every one of them. He even heard Abisu, Konohamaru, and Iruka talking. He frowned when he heard the Anbu converse with Shikamaru's father. Sakura-chan? He asked. Kakashi-sensei. Both turned to him with raised brows. There's one more thing to do, but I'm going to need your help. Seeing the glint in his eyes, Kakashi smiled and nodded while Sakura looked curious as she replied. Sure, why not? Lead the way. The blonde nodded gratefully at the two and they all managed to sneak away from the crowd, who were now preoccupied as many wandered to survey the damage. As they walked down the surprisingly empty street toward some newly constructed tents posing as meeting areas, Kakashi's curiosity rose. So, Naruto, what exactly are we doing? Sakura blinked when Naruto's cheerful face twisted into a scowl. There's some questions I have to ask Danzo about. You wanna know why it took so long for me to get here? Of course. Danzo killed Gamakasuke, who, when dispelled, would tell me to summon myself back here. That can't happen if they're killed. Naruto grit his teeth. Sakura frowned. Did Fukasaku-sama tell you that? He nodded. Kakashi put away his book, visible eye hard as steel. Danzo has been playing behind our backs for too long. Do you have a plan? Naruto grinned. Actually, no. But I'm just gonna play it by ear as usual. It works every time. The two sweat dropped but quickly regained their composure as the three stood outside the tent to eavesdrop, concealing their chakra. Considering that they were currently talking about how incompetent Tsunade had been as a Hokage, the three took no hesitation in barging in. Kaheru startled, eyes cold. "What, if I may ask, are you three doing intruding on a private meeting?" Sakura and Kakashi stood on either side of the blonde, who crossed his arms defiantly and swept a cold, menacing gaze over Danzo, Hamura, and Kaheru. "Seeing as this meeting concerns people close to us, we saw it fitting that we would be allowed to listen in. Besides that, I have some questions I need answered." "Ho-ho, boy. I admire your spirit. May I ask who you are?" The fire daimyo inquired, fanning himself. Shikaku smirked, clearing his throat to get everyone's attention. "Daimyo-sama, that is Uzumaki Naruto. He is the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, apprentice of the Toad Sage Jiraiya, student of Hada Kakashi, and as of today savior of Konoha. But most importantly, he is the son of Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato, the Yondaime Hokage." Naruto smirked as everyone looked at him in a new light. Sakura and Kakashi were staring wide-eyed, Shikaku looked smug, along with the surprise of the nobles. Kaheru and Hamura were analyzing him and seemed satisfied with what they found, if their respectful nods were any indication, but Danzo's eyes were narrowed, his lips in a grim line. "Damn that boy," he thought. "With Shikaku revealing his heritage, there's no way I will be chosen as Hokage now. But no worries, I will make sure to have him eradicated in no time, and I will rightfully be Hokage." Danzo's lips now formed a twisted smirk. The daimyo laughed, loud and uproariously. "Now, we were talking about a fitting candidate for Rakudame, were we not?" He questioned everyone around, who nodded. "I see no better choice than this boy right here. With his background and the strongest will of fire that I've ever seen burning in his eyes at this very moment, I would be proud to appoint him." Kaheru and Hamura shared a glance and nodded, the former speaking. "We second the decision." Shikaku smirked. "Third." The nobles consulted and nodded, indicating that they too agreed. Shikaku narrowed his eyes at Danzo. "Anything to add?" Naruto was watching in disbelief as they were agreeing on his becoming Hokage right before his eyes. Sakura and Kakashi were practically bursting with pride for their teammate, smirking at his wide eyes and gaping mouth. But when Danzo was announced, Naruto snapped out of it. He stalked up to the long table and slammed his hands down, killing intent directed at Danzo, who became noticeably paler. "Daimyo Jiji, can I ask my questions now? I have some things that I would like to tell the council." The daimyo nodded, while Kakashi and Sakura were stunned in awe as they saw this new side of Naruto. They were too used to him acting reckless and goofy, but even Naruto could get mad. The daimyo inclined his head. "You may speak." Naruto nodded back before leveling Danzo with an even stare that put him off since the blonde was never serious. "Danzo, I know what you did." Danzo scowled. "You know nothing, boy." "Oh, but I do." Naruto gave a dangerous smile. "I know that you wanted to make me into a weapon for Konoha, Jiji told me. I know that you are in charge of the still active route Anbu. I have friends in Anbu. Well, not really friends, cause they chased me around after I did pranks." He gave a sheepish laugh as Sakura whacked his head. "I know that you killed the toad summon left behind to keep me from being summoned and saving the village before the panic set in, which you would take control of and get your hands on the job of Hokage, Tusan told me. Why would you risk so many lives just to become Hokage?" Naruto scowled. What Danzo was doing went against everything he believed in. Shikaku stood up in outrage. "That would mean that Danzo is responsible for the destruction of Konoha and the lives lost." Danzo stood, slamming down his cane as his face was a mask of fury. "No lives were lost today." Kaheru and Hamura glared at their once friend. "The only reason that is so is because of Uzumaki-sama." Danzo too began to leak kai. "I deserve the title of Hokage." Kakashi strolled to Naruto's side, eyes smoldering while Sakura did the same, pulling on her gloves and cracking her knuckles. The Haddock's voice was oddly calm and controlled. "Danzo, we know that you were working with Orochimaru." Stunned silence filled the tent until it was emanating killing intent, and screams sounded. It was a good thing that the privacy seals had been activated. Soon one had had enough. Silence. No sound, just an eerie silence. The only thing heard was Naruto's heavy breathing as he leveled everyone with an icy glare, causing everyone to sit again. The daimyo sent the blonde a grateful glance. "We will deal with Danzo-san later. Back to the matter at hand. Uzumaki-sama, will you accept your rightful place as Rakudame Hokage of Konohagakure?" Everyone waited with bated breath for the reply. Naruto's brow was creased in thought. "Am I ready for this? I mean, I know that I've always wanted to be Hokage, but I don't think that I don't know if I'm ready for the responsibility. I don't really have Shikamaru's smartness or the ability." Sakura frowned, leaning in to whisper in his ear. "Naruto, no matter how much you deny it, you're ready to be Hokage. Just today you earned the whole village's respect and just now you've shown us a whole new side of you." A mature one. Believe me, you're more than ready. Oh, and it's intelligence, not smartness. The blonde looked at his sensei and got a warm nod. Taking a deep breath, Naruto said it. I accept. Everyone began clapping, and Naruto's eyes shone as he gave a goofy smile. The daimyo coughed, getting everyone's attention. Now, Rakudame-sama, what do you propose to do with Shimura-san? Naruto smirked. Shimura Danzo. He began and Danzo paled more. Naruto tried to remember what Bachan would say in this situation. As Rakudame Hokage of Konoha, I hereby put you under arrest as a traitor of the Leaf. Charges are murder of an ally of Konoha, putting the village in danger, using the power of the council behind their backs, disobeying Jiji's order to disband Root, training children to be killers, kidnapping children, and allying with a missing nin of the Leaf. Kakashi chuckled under his breath. Those are some pretty serious charges. Sakura couldn't help but agree. The Pincat smiled innocently. Rakudame-sama, what would you like us to do with Danzo-san? I guess bring him to the high security cells and have Ibiki and Anko-chan notified to interrogate him. Naruto said, unsure of himself, but his teammates looked at him encouragingly. As he was taken custody, Danzo leaked pure malice at the blonde, who ignored him. Oh, Daimyo Jiji, can I ask a favor? Of course, my boy. The daimyo winked. Naruto exhaled. I would like for no one to know that I'm Hokage yet. Everything we talked about today will be secret and no one can speak about it until I'm ready. Besides that, I was wondering if me, Kaka-sensei, and Sakura-chan go on a 2-week training mission that we will leave for tonight. The daimyo didn't even hesitate. Request granted. Kakashi and Sakura blinked, the former asking. So soon after all of this happened? Who will be in charge? Naruto looked hopefully at the Nara head. Shikamaru's dad, would you be stand-in Hokage until I get back? The Nara sighed. It's troublesome, but of course, Hokage-sama. Thank you. Naruto said gratefully. Anyways, bye everyone. And after Kakashi put a hand on each of his students' shoulders, they were gone with Danzo in tow. Naruto groaned in distress as he went to the rubble of his old apartment. Kakashi, Sakura and him had dropped Danzo off and made sure that he was in the highest security level cell before parting ways to prepare for their training mission. Slowly and meticulously the blonde searched through the ruins, eventually finding a scroll, brush, and some ink. Perfect. Thoughtfully, he sat down on a broken staircase and began to write. Shikamaru's dad. Here are some orders I need to give. First, have Ibiki interrogate Danzo. Second, have Anko-chan return with Sai so that they can organize the Anbu to track down any root agents. Third, have Yamato Taicho lead the construction and contact Azuna of Nami no Kuni, they will send over people to help in rebuilding. Last, if anyone important comes wishing to speak to the Hokage, offer them a place in Konoha until I return. Arigato. Uzumaki Naruto. Satisfied, Naruto rolled up a scroll and got up to drop it off at the Nara's tent. First he would go to the Namika's compound and then he had one last thing to do. This was the hard part, time to head to the Hyuga tents. He needed to have a talk with Hinata. Hyuga Hinata was currently in her tent, dressed in a lilac gown as she sat on the side of her futon, brushing her long indigo hair. She put down the brush and stared at her face, long and hard, putting a hand gently on her cheek. Am I pretty? She wondered. I know I'm not strong, because pain almost killed me when I tried to rescue Naruto-kun. Sakura-chan is the strong one, she healed my injuries. She deflated. And Naruto-kun like Sakura-chan, not me. I don't have a chance. Hinata was startled out of her thoughts as she heard someone announce their presence at the tent flaps. Hinata? Naruto asked awkwardly. Can I come in? We need to, talk. But the Hyuga took in her pajamas but decided to take it in stride. Sure, Naruto-kun. Face redder than ever, she turned to face him as he walked in and stood in front of her. She nodded to let him know that he could have a seat in the chair and he sat down. So? It's fine if you don't like me. Naruto blinked slowly. What? Hinata's face was hidden by her hair. I understand if you don't like me, even if I admitted my love for you. I know that you love Sakura-chan, not me. She was surprised when Naruto began to laugh, very loudly. Hinata-chan, Naruto calmed down, shooting her a smile. I don't like Sakura-chan that way. Well, I do but I'm pretty sure it'll never happen, so I think I'll find someone else. Sakura-chan is in love with Sasuke team anyway and sees me as more of a little brother. Hinata looked up at the blonde, her pale lavender eyes glinting with hope. So does that mean that I have a chance with you? Naruto shook his head and Hinata felt like she was going to cry. His voice was soft. I'm really sorry Hinata-chan, but I don't like you that way. I see you as a friend, as family, like a little sister. But yes, Hinata-chan, you are beautiful and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You're also kind and you're sweet and you're strong. You were able to jump in and face pain in order to save me when no one else could. Thank you for that, without you I would have lost. His eyes softened and he grabbed her chin, forcing her to look into his eyes. Hinata's breath caught. Besides, there's already someone who likes you as much as you do me. Pupilless eyes widened. Ah really? Who? Naruto chuckled, removing his hand. You'll see, now that you know that I'm not your guy. The guy that likes you makes it pretty obvious that he's jealous when I'm by you, too. His eyes hardened. Anyways, I have a bad feeling that something big is going to happen. Me, Kakashi-sensei, and Sakura will be gone for about 2 weeks. Can I trust that you will train to get even stronger than you are now and get the others in on it too? Hinata smiled gently, happy that Naruto had acknowledged her. It wasn't in the way that she had dreamed of, but he did care for her. Hi, Naruto-kun. You can count on me. Thank you, Hinata-chan. Naruto stood but paused when he was about to exit. And I believe in you. Even when he was gone, Hinata sat on her futon, staring into space. Everything had gone wrong, yet it had cleared up all doubts that she had once had about her strengths. If Naruto had faith in her, then so would she. She would show him that his hopes weren't misplaced. And from outside the tent, Neji stood, a proud and satisfied smirk on his lips. He hadn't hurt his cousin, and even though he'd been telling her that they wouldn't work out, he had shown her the window of opportunity with other men and gave her the confidence she had lacked. But with a weary sigh he looked off in the distance. What were those two spandex-wearing men doing now? So, Rakudame-sama, where are we going anyway? Kakashi asked, a tease in his voice. The three were leaping from tree to tree, on their way to wherever Naruto was leading them. But someplace that Iro-sennin showed me on our trip. We didn't have time to stay though, because the pervert had gone and done something stupid, so we were being chased. Anyways, it's somewhere in the wild lands in between Mizu no Kuni and Hai no Kuni. You'll see when we get there. Naruto replied, and Kakashi nodded. Sakura swung to the next branch before asking Naruto the question that's been bugging her. So, Naruto, did you talk to Hinata? The blonde sighed and grinned. Yeah, I did. It went better than I thought it would. I left her telling her that she was strong and beautiful and kind, but that I saw her as a sister. I told her to get stronger than before and get the others to train too. While Sakura trailed off in disbelief. Kakashi eyed his student happily. You actually do know how to deal with women. Naruto snorted, giving his sensei a sly smile. Of course I do. Anko-chan taught me what to do. Anyways, I traveled from ages 12 to 15 with a super pervert and I spent basically all my time around either him or women. Kakashi wiggled his brows. So, student of mine, did you get laid by some of those women? While Sakura fumed, Naruto gave the silver-haired nin a smirk that said it all and more. For the next few hours they argued and talked back and forth, getting to know each other until the bonds that they had were cemented to never break. They were a family. But soon they had to stop at a town ride on the outskirts of Hai no Kuni, needing new outfits since the others were destroyed, and they also needed enough weapons and supplies to last them a long time. Once they got out of the store Kakashi looked the same, but he wasn't wearing his jounin vest, and his shirt was a tee. Apparently he'd had extra clothes in a sealing scroll that he carried on his person at all times. Sakura was wearing black short shorts, the same sandals, had her weapon pouch and medic pouch strapped to her thighs, and a red sleeveless blouse with the same gloves on her hands. Her hair was tied in a ponytail, and her bangs were held back by her red hit I-8. Naruto had changed the most. He still had his hit I-8 in sandals, but his necklace had been shattered. He was wearing grey sweatpants and a loose black tank top. Now they were finally ready to train. They made it to the place Naruto was talking about at around midnight. It's amazing. Sakura breathed. They were standing at a marble wall that had been hidden by a hinge. On it was a large seal surrounding the kanji for Tsuyo, her strength. Kakashi admired the structure of the very complex seal. So, Hokage-sama, how do we get in? Naruto ignored the jab, now used to it, and walked up to the seal. He bit his thumb and swiped his blood on the ink, channeling his chakra into it simultaneously. A loud scratching sound permeated the air as the wall slid backwards before sinking into the flourish. The blonde led his two awestruck teammates in. Both jumped when the door closed again, covering the tunnel in darkness. Naruto. What do we do now? Sakura asked, crossing her arms, unseen in the darkness. Don't worry. They could hear the grin in his voice. Suddenly they heard a snap and the tunnel lit up, blue flames lighting the torches from Naruto's chakra. Naruto turned and began to walk inwards. Now follow me. They walked for about 20 minutes until they arrived in a cavern. There were seals going up and down the walls, covering almost every inch of the stone. The room was light, despite the fact that the tunnels had lead downwards, so they knew that they were underground and it was night outside. So Kakashi glanced in various areas. Each section of the room seemed to be protected by a barrier, so whatever technique practiced there wouldn't damage any other area. The walls and floor also were protected by a barrier so that the cavern wouldn't collapse. Naruto smiled, eyes shining as plans raced through his mind. So we can train in here, using our strongest techniques, and nothing would happen. We can walk through the barriers without a problem, but anything like a jutsu using chakra cannot exit whatever barrier it's within. The dummies in each section are also made to replicate the human body, so whatever the jutsu you hit them with would do to a person shows on them, but they can be fixed within the time where you activate the fix-it seals. But this is only the area where you practice jutsu. This way. They walked through another tunnel. The passage entrance was also protected by a barrier, so jutsu couldn't enter the tunnel and then into another cavern. This one was filled with dummies and boulders, and on the walls there were many chakra weights. Naruto was smiling wide. This is the Taijutsu area. The terrain shifts and can change forms from a lake to a forest to a canyon to a field or whatever kind of battlefield. If you activate the seals on the dummies, they come alive and attack you, and they can't be destroyed. The only way to stop them is to pass the level that you set them at and advance, or to deactivate the seals. Any damage done to this room can be fixed by the repair seals on the floor and walls. Now to the next room. Naruto said with a goofy smile, as he'd worded it exactly how Jiraiya had. The other two rolled their eyes at his advanced wording. They went through yet another tunnel. The next room was filled with so many bookshelves that it was next to impossible to believe. A large table that could fit 30 people was in the middle of the room, along with many brushes, empty scrolls, and inkwells. The scrolls on the shelves had every topic possible, from cooking to ninja techniques to politics to the history of the elemental nations. Naruto's eyes were so wide as he found that section. The other two were surprised that they weren't popping out of his head. "So what's this room?" Sakura asked, knowing the answer. Naruto was practically bouncing with energy. Honestly, they had never seen him excited to study, but they guessed that his love for that topic was also hidden. "This is where we study. I'm excited cause I never really got a chance to, and even though I hate it, Toussaint told me it's a good idea." Kakashi nodded sagely. Of course, knowledge is power. Naruto crossed his arms and copied his sensei's sagely nod. But without the strength to back it up, it can be nothing. Sakura looked contemplative. That's actually pretty true. Anyways. Naruto tried to snap his fingers but failed and laughed it off. To the next room. The next room had a wall covered in every type of weapon imaginable. The seals also covered the walls and floor here, and dummies lined one end of the room. "This is the weapon training room," Naruto said. "The dummies do the same thing as the jutsu room. To practice the long-range weapons, you stand on the furthest end of the room. For close range you go to the left side of the room where the dummies can be activated, and they can also use weapons, so that will help you to learn." The two nodded, and they were led into the next room. This one was obviously living quarters. Bunk beds and dressers lined the walls, while there were tables and refrigerators for food on the others. Nothing was dusty, not one bit, despite the fact that no one had been here to clean for ages. While Sakura bit her lip, Kakashi quirked a brow at the blonde. "Naruto." He began slowly. "Just where are we? Haven't you figured it out yet?" Naruto smiled fondly at the room. "We're in one of the Uzumaki clan bunkers." What?" Sakura stammered. "So there are seals that keep everything from getting dirty or aging too." Naruto nodded. "Yeah, and there's seals in the fridge too, so that the food never goes bad. Oh, another thing about this place. Time in here travels slower, so even if 2 weeks pass on the outside world, 2 months should pass here. Our bodies will form muscles and mature, and our hair will grow as much as it should in 2 months' time, but we will still look our real ages." Kakashi's visible eye was wide with disbelief. Few ninjutsu can do all that. The Uzumaki really were something. "Tell me about it," Sakura murmured. Naruto grinned and hopped onto a bed. "Okay you guys, let's sleep. For tomorrow marks the start of our training." With nods the two followed suit. For the next couple months they'd be going through hell and back, they just knew it. "Damn, why did I accept to do this? All of this paperwork is so troublesome." Shikaku sulked. He was a Nara, damn it, and they were lazy by nature. But Hokages were always busy and basically never had time to sit and watch clouds. Kuzo. "Nara-sama, there's a team of Cloud Nin here who request your presence." Shizune smiled as she peeked her head in. Shikaku frowned, leaning back in his seat before responding. "Send them in." "Hi." No sooner than she'd replied than did the team of 3 enter and bow to the Nara head. Shikaku waved it off, sighing. "Don't show me that kind of respect, I'm just here until Rakudame-sama returns. Call me Shikaku-san." "Rakudame?" Samui asks, startled. "I thought that the Godame was still in charge." Carrie protests. Amoy's eyes were wide. "Oh no. Carrie, you killed the Godame with that pebble." Perry flinched. I did." Shikaku watched the exchange with amusement, knowing the Anbu guarding him were doing the same. "Don't worry, Carrie-san, it wasn't your fault. Godame-sama was injured in the attack." Perry sighed in relief. "Oh, my condolences." "It's fine." Shikaku responded before straightening. The Kumonin did the same. So, is it the Hokage you must speak to about this issue? Samui nodded. It's totally not cool what happened. But yes, we must speak to the Hokage. Shikaku frowned, rubbing his temple. I'm sorry, but you'll have to wait for Hokage-sama to return. They won't be back for 2 weeks. Until then, we can offer you 3 a tent to stay in, as at this point in time it's the best we can do. Upset that their urgent message would have to wait, the 3 nodded nonetheless. Hi. Thank you, Shikaku-san. Inara nodded, waving his hand to signal to an Anbu. I just sent for someone to escort you to your tent. They'll be here in a few moments. It didn't take long until 12-year-old Genin Hyuga Hanabi appeared, looking curiously at the Nara head. Nara-san, you requested me? She asked, eyeing the Kumonin with trepidation. Shikaku nodded. Don't worry Hanabi-san, they won't try anything. Just in case, I'll have an Anbu tail you. Anyways, I would like for you to find them a tent to stay in. Hanabi bowed. Of course, Nara-san. She turned, looking at the stunned Kumonin with a slight glare. Come on, then. They walked out into the street and the Cloud team was even more surprised. People walked by, doing reconstruction with smiles on their faces. Not one person looked upset by the destruction of their village. Hanabi-san. Carrie began. Why is everyone so happy? Amoy pulled out another sucker. Wouldn't they be upset about all of the death? Hanabi giggled. Death? No one died. Samui blinked, taking in the rubble. How is that possible? Oh, people did die. Hanabi was starting to open up to them, but wouldn't give away vital information on her village. But Naruto-sama convinced the enemy that what he was doing was wrong. After fighting the paths, Naruto found the enemy and confronted him. He talked to him about how he killed his Shishu, but in the end Naruto-sama decided not to kill him and the enemy resurrected everyone who was killed. Whoa. Carrie breathed, stars in her eyes. I really want to meet this Naruto-sama. Amoy and Carrie sighed at this. Oi Hanabi-chan, what are Kumonin doing here? And what about Naruto? Kiba asked as he ran up to the Genin side, Akamaru not one step behind. Hanabi brightened at the sight of her sister's teammate. Kiba. Oh, I guess that they're staying here for a while because Nara-san asked me to show them to an empty tent. Kiba nodded at the girl while laying the Kumonin distrustfully, he knew about the Hyuga Kumo incident. Alright, I'll go with you guys. Akamaru woofed happily. Amoy looked at the newcomers curiously, sucker sliding to the other side of his mouth. So, what about this Naruto guy? Kiba blinked before giving a toothy smirk. Naruto's one of my friends, so you asked the right guy. Basically he saved us all, he faced the leader of Akatsuki and won. Team B's eyes widened. The leader of Akatsuki? Just how strong is this guy? Troublesome. Shikamaru muttered as he walked up to the group, getting his back slapped by Kiba made his eyes narrow into an annoyed glare. Naruto's actually the strongest ninja we've got. I think that he's also hiding his true potential. Hanabi blinked. Really, Shikamaru-san? That means that Naruto-sama is awesome. All that the trailing Anbu could do was sweat drop at the interaction. So, Hinata, did Naruto talk to you? Tenten asked with wide eyes. The Hyuga princess blushed and nodded. Ooh, really? Ino asked with stars in her eyes. You have to give us the juicy details. Are you two dating? Hinata shook her head and the other two paused. And no. He told me that he saw me as a sister. He also said that I was strong, kind and beautiful and that someone else liked me like I loved Naruto. Ino and Tenten nodded, smirking. Kiba. Hey Kiba-kun likes me? Hinata was stupefied and the other two giggled at her expression. Tenten nodded, but it looked weird because she was laying on Hinata's futon with her head over the edge. Yeah. He's been dating quite a few girls, but me and Ino noticed that he only had eyes for you. I'm surprised that Naruto of all people noticed. Actually, I think that Naruto-kun is actually as smart as Shikamaru-kun. Hinata spoke up. Tenten looked disbelieving, but Ino agreed. I think so too. Ino said, admiring her nails. Tenten smirked in her direction. And how would you know this? Ino's face flushed. Shut up. Hinata blinked at the two. Ino-chan, you like Naruto-kun? The blonde blushed more, but nodded. Yeah, I guess. I mean ever since he came back with that old pervert, I've been paying more attention to him. Ino and Naruto sitting in a tree, kissing. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes Ino with the ba. Tenten was cut off by a fuming Yamanaka. Look who's talking. We all know you want Niji's baby. Tenten blushed and sat up, glaring. Oh no you didn't. Oh yes I did. Hinata frowned. Guys. Take that back. No way. You take it back. Eyes. You. Eyes. Both froze and looked at the glaring Hinata. She relaxed once she saw their attention was on her and smiled innocently. Before Naruto-kun left, he put me in charge of getting everyone stronger. Ino blinked. So he wants us to train. Benton smirked. Obviously. And knowing him, he wants us to train hard. With that the girls set out to find their friends. And knowing this, you can guess that there was no way the guys could deny them their wish. After all, girls were scary when wronged. Especially the shy kind ones. "Boy, Naruto, what do I do?" Naruto facepalmed while Kakashi pulled out his book. "Sakura-chan, just think of how many dummies you want to activate, then put your hands in the Hitsuji sign and say initiate I think." Sakura nodded, forming the hand sign, eyes burning with determination. "Okay, here I go. Kaishi Suru." She got into a ready stance when two dummies activated and did the same. Cracking her knuckles, she began. Kakashi snapped his book shut as the room shook. "I suppose that we should also begin." Naruto smiled, forming a cross-hand seal. Thousands of clones popped into existence and went to their stations. Some to the jutsu room, scrolls from the study room in hand, some to the weapons room. Naruto wanted to learn how to use a bow and trench knives, some to study every topic in the study room, and the last one stayed in the taijutsu room to practice. Their strength wouldn't transfer to Naruto, but muscle memory definitely would. Smirking, Naruto turned to Kakashi. "Okay sensei, ready to begin." "Am I ready?" Kakashi cracked his neck and the two jumped back, facing each other. "Of course I am." In the study room, Naruto's clones that were learning Fuinjutsu and every other topic took seats at the table and covered every spot that there wasn't a bookshelf. In the weapons room, some clones had to do the physical henge only Naruto could do to turn into bows, arrows, and trench knives since there weren't enough weapons. In the jutsu room, each clone unrolled their scroll and memorized the hand seals. Their job was to learn each jutsu well enough that they'd only need one-handed hand seal or none at all. Training had begun. "Akikushu," Niji called, sending an air gust towards his cousin. Taking a deep breath, Hinata began spinning. "Hakesho Katen." Atsuuga. Kiba and Akamaru came barreling at Chouji. The Akamichi expanded with a shout of Nikuden Sensha. "Arg. Shinranshin no Jutsu." Ino screamed as she almost got hit by the two attacks. Akamaru, Kiba and Choji all changed direction towards Shikamaru, whose eyes widened. "Mendakus," he called as he jumped onto a tree branch, hands in the Nezumi seal. "Kajime no Jutsu." The three were stopped. Shikamaru jumped to the side, making the people in his jutsu do the same as he avoided Shino's bugs. Lee flew past, a horde of weapons shooting after him, along with a weapon-crazy teammate. Down below and out of harm's way stood three wide-eyed Kumonin and Hanabi, along with a newly returned team Abisu, after bringing Inari and Tazuna to Konoha for reconstruction. Each had been watching the group go at it for about 3 hours now, never stopping. Their rate of progress was amazing, especially since each of them were learning new jutsu as they went, along with learning how to predict each other's attacks. Even if it was a free-for-all brawl, it was strengthening teamwork at an amazing rate. Another 5 minutes passed and the new 7 jumped in, the battle eclipsing even more. Mixing in 3 Hyugas, 3 sword-wielding Raiden using ninja, an Aburam, an Inyazuka and his partner, a Yamanaka, a Nara, an Akamichi, a mini Naruto, a weapons expert and an up-and-coming weapons expert, a Doten using smart Yuden, and all the others ended up virtually marking this training ground as their own. Everyone lasted another 2 hours before collapsing side by side, chugging water bottles and wrapping bandages. "That was awesome," Carrie exclaimed. Samui nodded. "It was cool of you guys to allow us to train with you." Shikamaru sighed, eyes watching the clouds. "Well, even if you are foreign ninja, Naruto would be upset that we weren't being friendly." Shino agreed. "Naruto believes it logical to try and be friends with anyone you meet before deeming them as an enemy. Even then the boss tries to help you." Konohamaru said brightly, Hanabi smiling in agreement with Mogi and Yuden. Amoy offered everyone a sucker and they all accepted gratefully. "All that we've heard about this Naruto guy since coming here were good things. Did he have that good of a life?" Immediately the temperature dropped and all of the Konoha ninja were glaring at the 3 wide-eyed cloud ones. Ino's tone was biting. "Never," she spat, "never say that Naruto has had an easy life. His was more difficult than anyone could comprehend." The 3 nodded shakily and everything turned back to normal, the atmosphere turning cheery as everyone talked about more training ideas. They had 2 weeks, after all. All that the visitors could focus on was wondering about how great this Naruto was. "Shimura Danzo. I never expected to see you here, in my lovely office." Danzo glared at the interrogator. Some office this dungeon was. He was chained to a wall with his chakra cut off by seals, and they had discovered his Mokuton arm, and all of his implanted Sharingans were now visible, but he couldn't use them without chakra. Whatever it took, the rude head would not talk. Ibiki frowned. "You're not going to make this easy then." A smirk twisted his face as he picked up a Raiden-infused scalpel. "You see this? Every time I cut you with it you will receive a shock that will not cease until I remove it. This is TT number 1. As the metal cut into his skin, Danzo bit his tongue. 5 hours later. Ibiki threw the chair across the room, sending the papers on his wall flying. He stood in his actual office, bent over and breathing heavily. Even after 5 hours of his most effective torture devices, Danzo would not talk. 5 hours. And frankly, it was really pissing off the head of T&I. He had even called in Inoichi for a mind examination, but the veteran hadn't managed to break through the mental barriers Danzo must have spent years creating. Yes, it had been fun asking Danzo questions, but not when he didn't get the answers he was asking for. At this rate, it would take the full amount of time until the new Hokage whoever the hell that was returned for Inoichi to bust through the mind barriers. Damn. Shikaku-san, you're the Rakudame Hokage. Sai asked as he stood in front of the Nara. Anko lounged against the wall, annoyed at being called here. She had been trailing the traitorous snake's assistant, the ever-so-slippery Yakushi Kabuto, but the group had been replaced by a Hyuga and an Inyazuka. Lucky them. No, I'm not the Rakudame. Shikaku said for the 100th time. I'm just the stand-in until Rakudame Sama returns in 2 weeks for his inauguration. Sai nodded. Ah, I see. So what's up? I was on a very important mission until I got called back here, thank you very much. Anko narrowed her eyes. Hokage-sama wanted you two to do a job for him. Shikaku began. Since Danzo has been arrested as a traitor of the Leaf, and since I here was undercover for us, he is to show you where each base is, Anko. You each will draw a map of their locations and return them to me when finished. You have 2 months to map them out, and by then the Hokage will instruct you on what to do next. Of course. Sai replied. He may not be allowed to speak or write about route secrets, he could certainly show them the bases. Anko glared. She had been on a mission chasing someone she loathed with a teammate who had the personality of a brick. She had been recalled from said mission to return to a destroyed village whose guardian was now in a coma, and she was severely dango deprived since the shop was destroyed. Why is everyone being so secretive about this? Why can't anyone tell us who the damn Rakudame is? Shikaku smirked at her impatience. Only a few know who the Hokage is now, and those who do were told to keep it under wraps until Rakudame Sama returns. Oh, you have to keep what you know about Danzo's secret too. Sai nodded, but Anko swore, eyes glaring at the lazy stand-in Hokage. See what I mean? You won't even tell us what gender the Rakudame is. Anyways, dismissed. While Anko left swearing, Sai had that fake smile pasted on his pale face. Shikaku sighed and looked back at the desk. Oh Kami. Why did whoever the Rakudame is want him to manage the reconstruction? Yes, he was creating houses with his Mokuton, but the civilians were taking forever in erecting a new house. Did chakra really make life this much easier? Yamato had never really thought about it as he'd been raised around ninjas, but now he really had time to spend with the chakra less as he'd taken to calling them. Although Naruto's little genin-age friend Inari and the old man Tazuna were amazing architects. The two helped Yamato retain control when the others got distracted usually by women and got them to finish a house a day. It was impressive for the chakra less, but considering that Yamato made 12 every day, they still were behind. Honestly, it made the ex-Anbu quite proud of his skills. The reconstruction was going well, and as per the Rakudame's orders, no house, restaurant, warehouse, shop, etc. was less extravagant than the next. Apparently the new Hokage didn't want a lower class or red light district in Konoha anymore, and that was something Yamato agreed on wholeheartedly. Equality was key. Yamato-san. Woodman. Yamato twitched at the last shout. Inari had obviously become close to Naruto, if his name-calling and disrespect were any indication. Schooling his features, Yamato turned to the two as they approached. Hi. Inari bounded up, towel over his shoulders and face red with the exertion of working hard all day. He was impressed by the kid's skill and determination, he would soon surpass his grandfather. It's almost time to end for tonight, think you can do one more? Azuna's pace was much more leisurely, a bottle of sake swinging from his hands. Say, Youngjin, can ya? Despite the growing tick mark, Yamato nodded and did as they asked. Inari watched with eyes the size of dinner plates. Woodman, that's a Kage Genkai right? The woodman nodded while Tazuna chugged the sake without remorse. The Mokuton of the Shadame Hokage. Sugoi. Inari said in awe. Tazuna tossed the empty bottle into a nearby bin. So, Youngjin, who do you think the new Hokage of your village is? Honestly. Yamato pondered. It could be Kakashi-senpai, considering the fact that he is not here. Speaking of that, Naruto and Sakura are gone too. His sweat dropped as he took in their tired appearances. How long have you two been working? For a couple hours. Inari responded. Yamato's sweat drop grew, it seemed the chakra-less were very out of shape. He had been working since sunrise. 2 weeks later, in the real world. Shikaku-san. Naruto, Kakashi-san, and Sakura are here to see you. At the moment that the three had walked in, Shikaku had dismissed his Anbu and activated the privacy seals in the tent and all but threw himself into Naruto's arms, practically sobbing in relief. You have no idea what kind of torture I have been through. The horror, oh, the horror. Kakashi chuckled. The horror of what, if I may ask, Shikaku-san? Nara pulled back, regaining his composure and looking sheepish. Well, the horror of paperwork of course. Although, I did save the more significant documents for your signature and overview. That was when he took in their new appearances. Sakura's hair was long again, held up in a high ponytail with her red Hinata used as a headband. Her black boots had slight heels and went up to her knees, she had on black short shorts, the standard weapon pouch on her right thigh, and the medic one on her waist, the same undershirt as Shishu had, but she also had the same robe too, but instead of green it was red, and the kanji on the back stood for power. Kakashi's hair was a bit longer, but other than that he still looked the same, excluding the chakra blade strapped to his left side. It was Naruto who had changed the most, and he was obviously built for speed. He looked identical to his father in every way, from body build, face and eye shape, to hairstyle. The only obvious difference was his whisker marks. He was wearing black Anbu pants taped at the bottom, black sandals, a weapon pouch on his right thigh, a trench knife on each side, strapped to the X-shaped brown belt there which several scrolls hung from, his black Hinata on his forehead, a black muscle tee over a long-sleeved fishnet shirt, black fingerless gloves with metal plates bearing the Konoha symbol, and finally the cape. It was only staying on him because of the gold chain connecting each side, and it was white with orange, red, and yellow flames licking the bottom. Shikaku guessed that on the back was the kanji for Rakudame Hokage necklace that looked like it had 3 silver metal prong spikes. Anyways, Shikaku bowed low. Welcome back, Rakudame-sama. Naruto chuckled, falling back into the seat behind the desk. He picked up some reports and his eyes flicked over the contents before he grinned up at Shikaku and his teammates. Thanks for taking charge while I was gone, Shikamaru's dad. Anything big happen while I was gone? Shikaku sighed. Not much. Reconstruction has been going fine. I'm assuming you haven't seen it since you sunshined here. Sai and Anko mapped out all of the route bases for you. It's one of the documents on the desk and it seems that Shikamaru and your friends have gotten progressively stronger each day you were gone. They raided the Jutsu archives for shinobi, along with any clan archives. Everything lost has been recovered and we're working on replacing anything that we haven't found. The only problem is the fact that Ibiki can't get Danzo to talk and there has been a team of Kumonin waiting for your arrival for 2 weeks. Oh, and I would prefer it if you call me Shikaku, Hokage-sama. Oh, shit. Naruto groaned. Then his face got serious and Sakura and Kakashi immediately snapped to attention. Shikaku did the same after blinking at the two. Sakura, I'd like you to check on Bachan and get Shizune Nichin to give you an update on her condition before you assist the hospital tent with preparations. Kakashi, I would like you to organize the Anbu and have Anko and Sai meet me in 1 hour to discuss our plans. Shikaku Jiji, would you mind summoning the Kumonin? Then if one of you could find the elders for me and have them meet me to discuss my inauguration in front of the village, that would be great. Hi, Hokage-sama. Shikaku inwardly twitched. He wasn't that old. The three dispersed, leaving Naruto to his thoughts. The training had come far and all three had reached a skill level that was unbelievable. But with everything that was going on, pressure was high and they all had responsibilities. Naruto could safely say he was Kage level, maybe even being over the rank. Kakashi was elite Anbu and Sakura elite Jounin. He was pretty sure that his friends were the same strength as Sakura by now and if he thought right then Hanabi, Mogi, and Yuden should be elite Chunin. He looked through the scrolls on the desk and found a very official looking one. He read it and his brows raised in interest. A Kage summit is being held in a week and a half. GRR, more shit to deal with. He looked up when the Kumonin entered. Amoy glanced at the blonde, crossing his arms. So, you're the Rakudame Hokage. Pleasure to meet you, I guess. I'm Amoy. Naruto smirked, kicking back and putting his feet on the desk. The one and only youngest Hokage. Carrie eyed the blonde up and down. You know, I can admit without shame that you're hot. I'm Carrie. Are you single? Samui held her aching back. She took in his features, they looked exactly like what she'd been hearing about. Say, are you the Uzumaki Naruto that we've only been hearing good things about? Naruto groaned. I'm guessing that you guys are close to my friends. Yeah, I'm Uzumaki Naruto, son of the Yondaime Hokage. The Yondaime had a son. Cool. Samui responded. Her teammates were speechless in shock. Naruto put his feet down and his face turned serious, the three tensing. So, what did you want to talk about? Sorry you had to wait a couple weeks, I had some stuff to do. Amoy waved off his concerns. It was fine, you've got a great village Hokage-sama. But yes, Reikage-sama sent us here to discuss with you marking a traitor of the leaf a missing nin. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Which traitor are you speaking of? Harry frowned, tossing him a scroll. Naruto unrolled it and read the contents, hands shaking. Damn it, that goddamn idiot. He took a deep breath to calm himself as he put the scroll to the side. I don't know if I can mark Uchiha Sasuke as a missing nin yet. Tell Hokage Dono that I'll give him a reply at the summit in a week and a half. And as I feel for your pain of loss, I am sure that B is still alive as Akatsuki need to capture the Jinchuriki alive. Until then, all I can do for you is offer you info on Sasuke and the Akatsuki. Displeased, but mission accomplished, the three nodded and bowed low. Hi, Hokage-sama. Would you like us to return to Kumo? Naruto relaxed. If you would like, you can stay in Konoha until you have all of the data. Although I'm positive that Hokage Dono would like you to return soon. Samui agreed. We will leave soon enough, but we will take you up on your offer for now. They left and Naruto sat back in his seat. He let his senses explore the village, his Uzumaki genes doing the work of a natural chakra sensor. He took in their emotions and feelings and a content smile curled his lips. Silently 4Kage Bunshin appeared and began to read through and sign the documents. The half hour passed and just when the work was done and Bunshin's dispel did Sai and Anko walk in, right on time. They stood in front of him with raised eyebrows as they saw just who the Rakudame was. Neri-chan? Anko asked incredulously, much to Naruto's ire. You're Rakudame Hokage. In response, Naruto face planted into the desk. He looked up and scowled at their amused expressions. Sai gave a genuine laugh. So, Dickless, why did you request our presence? Naruto scowled harder. Whatever. But yeah, I called you here to talk about the mission I gave you. Both straightened as he pulled out the map they made and laid it across the desk, all three gathering. Now, where do you think we should launch the first attack? Anko pointed towards a base near the south of Konoha. We should attack here. Sai told me that this is where they keep the information on all the root ninja and the trainees, along with research. I agree. Sai nodded before looking into Naruto's eyes. You do know that Danzo has injected the Shadame's DNA into his right arm, along with implanting several Sharingan into that same arm. We have also discovered Uchiha Shisui's eye in place of Danzo's right eye. Naruto growled, low and deep in his throat. He began to leak a potent Kai that was so strong that his two subordinates began to shiver. That bastard. Danzo is going to pay. Hokage-sama, if you would please stop channeling your Kai. Anko stammered. Taking a deep breath, the blonde reined it in. Right, I'm sorry about that. Anyways, let's keep talking. They continued discussing their plan of attack for the root bases. 2 hours and 15 minutes later Naruto dismissed the two with a wave of his hand and just as he finished a ration bar did the two elders come in, nodding respectfully. Rakudame-sama, you wish to see us? Hamura inquired. Naruto nodded, shooting the two a tired grin. The elders really were impressed with their new Hokage's dedication. Yeah, we need to talk about when my inauguration will be. Pahara nodded. Of course. Personally, I think it best if we plan for it to be tomorrow morning at the very least. That seems to be the best course of action. This way you will have time to begin overseeing the reconstruction for yourself. Hamura agreed. Naruto slumped into his chair. I guess so, then. So we can plan on the ceremony being at 9 AM tomorrow morning and then they can begin putting my handsome face on the monument, correct? The two old advisors nodded, smiling at his statement. Very well. We will see to it that preparations are begun and will be ready for your inauguration. Naruto nodded and dismissed them. He slumped further into his chair, bone-weary with exhaustion. Before he knew it he was entering the state of unconsciousness. When his eyes opened he found himself in the now very familiar sewers of his mind. Kit. The Kyuubi grinned from behind the bars of his cage. I was wondering when you'd finally catch a break from your new job to visit me. Naruto smiled at the giant fox. Of course Kurama. There's no way that I could forget the giant fox located in my gut. Kurama rolled his eyes fondly, remembering just how he and his jailer had become partners. So month prior 1 year in the Uzumaki Hangarks. So Naruto, are you sure that you're ready for this? Kakashi asked. Sakura bit her lip, nervous about the whole ordeal. You don't have to fight the Kyuubi, you can just use your own power that you've gained this past month. Naruto shook his head, eyes glowing with determination. No Sakura-chan, I have to do this. Kuchiyas no jutsu. Naruto slammed his hand down and out of the smoke came Jiratora. The toad's body elongated. You sure that you're ready for this kid? Naruto nodded and seeing that he couldn't be deterred, the three relented. Kakashi and Sakura leapt out of the barrier Naruto was in and Jiratora allowed Naruto to take the key by, yes, climbing into his mouth. Coughing, Naruto sat down in a meditative stance to enter his mind. Once there, he faced the Kyuubi. Naruto. The fox breathed, pupils narrowed to mere slits. What are you doing here? Naruto smirked, floating up to the seal as the key appeared on his arm. Yo. He muttered as he twisted the seal on his stomach to open, Yukata Suminsky Watina. It's been a while. The seal broke and the doors slammed open. The fight is like canon, since Naruto doesn't want to destroy his mindscape. He also still meets Kushina. Mindscape against. In the end, Naruto had stayed to talk to Kyuubi. He had practically annoyed the old Biju until they had a strong bond and Naruto and Kurama could use each chakra mode without problem. Kurama had even been saved from hatred through the blonde stubborn Nindo and his will to protect everyone and hopefully bring peace to the ninja world. The fox smirked at his jailer. Whatever you say, you know that I'll always see you as an annoying little worm. Naruto crossed his arms and pouted. Yeah. Well then I'll always see you as a destructive fox with a sadistic streak to make Anko and Ibiki piss their pants. Yeah, I'm the Kyuubi no Kitsune, don't wear it out. Kurama stood to his full height, tails waving. Wow. Naruto snorted. Such a child. Kurama roared at the boy, teeth bared. Insolent child. A hairless monkey like you has no right to call me, a Biju who had been alive for millennia, a mere child. Even as they continued to insult each other, each were smiling at the teasing that drew them together as friends. Early the next morning, Naruto was awoken by someone shaking him. Without thinking he had stood up and flipped them over the desk and pinned them to the ground, kunai to the throat. Only when his vision cleared and he became fully aware did he realize what happened. Shizune Nichin. Sorry about that, I was still asleep and I thought that it was an attack and Naruto apologized profusely, helping up the dazed but giggling woman. This had happened a lot with Kakashi and Sakura, so Naruto wasn't too surprised. Shizune waved off his concerns while Taunton squealed in her arms. Don't worry about it, Hokage-sama. I was just wondering if you'd like to visit Tsunade-sama before your inauguration. Naruto nodded as he relaxed. She isn't awake yet, is she? He said more than asked. What time is it anyway? It's about 7:30. Shizune replied. Naruto nodded and the two shunshined to Tsunade's tent. Shizune stood to the side while Naruto slowly took in her form, tears coming to his eyes as he collapsed by her side. He grabbed her withered hand and gave a small teary smile. Seems like you've been the reckless one this time, right Bachan? He gave a bitter laugh. I'm sorry that I didn't stop by to see you the past 2 weeks. I was on a training trip with Kakashi and Sakura-chan, training so that I could get strong enough to actually protect everyone. Did you know that I'm announcing my position as Hokage in an hour and a half? Betcha didn't think I'd make it this soon, did you? Naruto sat in silence for a while, Shizune checking the Godim's vitals every once in a while and noticing with relief that they were picking up. At 8:45 Naruto gently squeezed Tsunade's hand and stood to go, but paused. In a soft voice he asked her one thing. Bachan. Please get better. And he was gone in a swirl of leaves. The moment he left the youthful hand she usually put up appeared and Shizune rejoiced that her mentor was regaining her strength. Are you almost ready, Naruto-sama? Kaharu asked as she handed Naruto the Hokage's hat. Naruto smiled, putting it on. The two advisors were the only ones standing with him in the newly rebuilt Hokage tower located in the center of the crater. The platform was also rebuilt, so Naruto would deliver his speech from there. Every one of Konoha's citizens were waiting below to see who their new Hokage was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I'm ready. Amura cleared his throat. Did you memorize the speech you wrote? Naruto scoffed. Wrote. It isn't a true speech unless it comes from your heart, so I'm just gonna go with the flow. The two normally composed elders' sweat dropped. Yes, of course, Naruto-sama. I now present to you the Rakudame Hokage of Konohagakure. Naruto straightened at the announcer's voice and the elders took their spot on his sides. With purpose he hid his face beneath a wide brim hat and stalked out to stand above his citizens, his precious people. As he walked out onto the balcony Kaharu and Homura's breath caught in their throats. They swore they could see the ghostly shadows of the Hokages of times before, from Senju Hashirama, Senju Tobirama, Saratobi Hiruzen, Namikaze Minato, and Senju Tsunade. Cheers echoed from below as everyone took in his appearance, wondering what his face looked like. Uzumaki Naruto. The screams got even louder as Naruto took off his hat and handed it back to Homura, giving the crowd the truest smile ever. Silence reigned for a moment as they took in the beauty of it before the screams began anew. Naruto held up a hand to quiet the crowd, but even then it took 10 minutes for them to wait for his speech. Citizens of Konoha. Naruto took a deep breath. I thank every one of you for this opportunity. I'm positive that all of you are aware of how long that I have worked towards it. In the beginning, it was to gain acknowledgement from those who hated me for a reason that I did not know. The older citizens all looked guilty. I was told that secret the night I graduated my genin exam. But today, I will revoke the third's law and let it be known. There will be no secrets held any longer. The night of the Kyuubi attack, the Kyuubi was not killed. My father, the Yondaime Hokage, knew that because it was impossible to kill a massive chakra and that he would have to find an alternative. He would have to seal it into his infant son, for he believed in his strength and ability to hold back the strongest Biju. There were collective gasps as everyone took in this information. Yes, everyone, Minato Namikaze is my father, and I am the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. My mother's name was Uzumaki Kushina, lone survivor of the Uzushio massacre. My reason to be Hokage is no longer to gain acknowledgement, it is now to protect all of Konoha and her citizens. Naruto bowed. This I swear on my life. More screams and cheers. Naruto looked up, still in his bow, and flashed a familiar foxy grin. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, Rakudame Hokage of Konohagakure. Before Naruto knew what was happening, his friends and the civilians and shinobi had him on their shoulders, passing him along the crowd. Everyone was cheering and screaming and crying, children running along to get a glimpse of the Hokage. And from his position, all Naruto could do was smile. He had reached his goal. But everything good will eventually come to an end. 1 week later. Hokage-sama, as you can see, reconstruction has been completed in your image. Yamato Taicho, not you too. Naruto cried out in exasperation. With the help of many of his clones, Konoha had been rebuilt stronger and better than ever. His face was on the Hokage monument, identical to his father's, but with the whisker marks. The houses, shops, and restaurants were now filled and remodeled, only needing to be painted. Naruto's office looked like the old Hokage one, wanting to keep the tradition. The pictures of previous Hokages were up on the wall, and Naruto was glad that instead of a few small windows, the whole wall behind him was glass, so that he could watch his village. Inari grinned. Don't worry Hokage Nyasan, you deserve the respect. Izuna nodded. He's right, brat, you've earned it. Yamato smirked. So, is that all, Hokage-sama? Yeah, guess so. Naruto pouted, gaze turning to the two-wave residents. I thank Nami no Kuni for their help in the rebuilding. Izuna waved it off. We owed you since you saved our country, anyways. Consider our debt repaid, and since I'm governor, would you like to consider strengthening our alliance? Oh, good idea, Jiji. Inari agreed. Seeing as he was being ignored, a dark cloud hovered over Yamato as he left the three to their deals. The three pored over a document, Naruto's brush poised over a scroll. So we can consider opening more trade routes for our villages. And I can have any missions Nami requests lowered to 3/4 needed paid of the price, but considering all the money we'll be spending from the repairs, that's the best I can do. Izuna took the pen and signed below Naruto. That's more than enough, thank you Hokage Gaki. Inari took the scroll and rolled it up. Yeah, thanks Hokage Nyasan. Naruto's sweat dropped at the titles they gave him, but dismissed them. Great. Well I guess you two can return back to Tsunami-kasen, and thank you again. Izuna turned from the door, and Inari waved. Don't mention it, brat. And they were gone. The Anbu guarding Naruto all coughed, hiding their amusement at their Hokage's titles. Naruto glared into the corners. Yeah, laugh all you want. Just remember that you're laughing at the only person who can assign you to D-rank missions for life. That shut them up pretty good. Naruto looked up as Sai and Anko shunshined in, his blonde eyebrow raising. Hey, Anko-chan, asshole. Report. Hi, Dikla-sama. Sai saluted, eliciting another round of the Anbu snickering, while Naruto's eyebrow twitched. Mission success. Yup. Anko grinned. All files and documents have been recovered and archived here in the Hokage Tower. We've managed to rescue all the maggots that Danzo was training and had them put in special orphanages managed by retired shinobi so that they can help with therapy. Naruto sighed in relief. That's good to hear. Any word on the rude Anbu that are loyal to Danzo? Sai shook his head. We destroyed all of the bases with explosive notes, so they couldn't be in any of those since there was nothing left. But we did manage to catch at least half of Danzo's troops in an ambush they planned, but all of the route were either killed or committed suicide. Oh, great. Naruto muttered. Keep searching for the other route converts. Ibiki hasn't managed to get Danzo team to talk yet, and Inoichi Jiji is still trying to get through the mental barriers. The two saluted before disappearing. Spinning his chair around, Naruto stood and saluted his Anbu with a grin as he vanished in a flash of yellow. He appeared on his father's head above the Hokage monument and looked across his rebuilt village with pride in his blue eyes. He settled down on a tree with his hands above his head, his eyes slowly slipping closed. He awoke not long later to see the sunset over Konoha. His breath caught in his throat at the beauty of it all. Naruto blinked once he saw Team Abisu bounce up to him. Boss. Konohamaru called, leaping onto the older male's lap. Naruto ruffled his hair and Yuden and Mogi's once they came and sat around him. I'm so glad you finally reached your dream, boss. Mogi smiled brightly, blushing. Yuden sniffed. You're great, Oyabun. Naruto smiled as Konohamaru got off of him. You guys did great. I heard about what you did to protect Konoha before I arrived, I'm proud of you three. The three all lapsed into conversation with their older brother figure before they had to go home. Naruto watched until the stars came out before stretching and appearing outside of the medical tent. He took in the nurses running around in a panic and grabbed the closest one's arm, his voice changing to anxious. "What's going on?" "Okage-sama, it's Lady Tsunade," the nurse said with a huge smile. "She's awake." "Naruto?" Sujetsu blanched. "This Naruto guy defeated pain all by himself." Zetsu replied. "That's right. He's become extremely strong and I think he might be stronger than Sasuke right now." Sasuke smirked. "TCH, I don't care about that. My main concern is this Gokage summit." Sujetsu shrugged. "What are we gonna do? Konoha is no more and if this Danzo, our target, is going to the Gokage summit, shouldn't we be heading there too?" Karen gasped, turning to look at Sujetsu, who blinked. What? Am I wrong?" Sasuke gazed at his team with cold onyx eyes. "We, Taka, will take the Hokage's head at the Gokage summit. We're changing our destination." "Sounds like a plan." Madara agreed tonelessly. "So where is the Gokage summit taking place?" Karen asked. "This is becoming a really bothersome situation." "Zetsu," Madara began, "my clone will guide you." Zetsu's flight trap opened and the guy began to push himself out of the tree branch. Team Taka tensed at his actions, wary around the two. Karen gagged as the plant man split in half, one white and one black. "Okay, follow me." White Zetsu said as he leapt away. After a moment's hesitation Taka followed. Madara watched him jump away through his orange mask. Yugo sped up to catch up to Sasuke. "Can we trust them?" "We'll wait and see for now." Sasuke responded. "If I sense anything suspicious, I'll get rid of them with my Amaterasu. There's something I've been meaning to test out anyway." "All is going as planned." Black Zetsu remarked to his master. "Not everything." Madara doplayed. "Nagado's Jito art of Rin rebirth was supposed to be used for my benefit. I never expected he would use it for something other than that. To betray me he imagined the lives Nagado resurrected. Even if Sasuke should become stronger than Nagado, it is meaningless if he cannot be controlled. It will be a while before I consider letting him synchronize with the Jito statue. We need to keep an eye on him." "So you had contingent plans in case Nagado died?" Black Zetsu questioned. "Somewhat." Madara answered. "However, it's certainly not what I had in mind." Uzumaki Naruto Madara scowled to the side. "He managed to put a small dent in my plan." "What next then?" Black Zetsu inquired. "We make our move." Madara smirked beneath his mask. "We're done moving ahead cautiously. Let's push forward with Project Tsuki no Mei." His hands raised as if grasping the power he imagined. "Our plans will come to fruition." "It has begun." "There's an intruga." The shinobi was silenced as he was thrown headfirst into the wall. A masked shinobi wiped the blood off of his tanto and signaled for his companions to come forward. Wordlessly, white masked ninja stalked through the dungeons. They all had one reason for being here and each would follow their orders to the death. The lead ninja kicked in a door, blankly taking in the side of his master chained to a wall, looking beat and weak, but without hesitation a few stepped forward and released him. Their master leaned heavily on his subordinates as two supported him, all heading out of the office that had housed him for the past 2.5 months. Some ninja took care of any resistance until finally the large group went through a forest and to a makeshift base, obviously hurriedly made and only holding the necessities, but even then it was bare minimum. The two laid their master on a futon and began to clean and dress his wounds, all work being done in silence. When he was finally settled the lead ninja stepped forward and kneeled, bowing his head down. The master nodded as he slowly sat up. "Report." "Hi. Mitarashi-san has decimated our forces and acquired possession of our trainees and documents. Our bases have been destroyed and nothing is left. There is a Gokage summit being held in 3 days. We do have Mitarashi-san and Sai being followed by Dajim and Terra, both skilled men, and it seems they are near to one of Kabuto's bases." The shinobi reported. Perhaps now is the time to dispose of her." Danzo mused. "This is a crucial time. I want to avoid any mishaps that could worsen the situation. After my capture and now escape, Konoha will be on high alert. Increase our troops, get Anko before Kabuto does." The master's eyes narrowed. "Kabuto has the research data from Orochimaru's human experiments. We must get that data without fail." He removed his newly bandaged arm from his sling and placed it on his covered eye. "I'm certain it will be useful for my right arm and left eye. Fu and Torin, you two stay here. Terai, I'll rely on you to deal with Kabuto. Now go." "Hi." Terai lowered his head and vanished in a shunshin. The master lowered his head. "Now, I must prepare for the future. We will be nearing the Gokage summit. As my top 2 subordinates you two will be my guards and protect me at all costs, understood?" The two bowed. "Good. Uzumaki Naruto, you will pay for what you have done to me." Nerves tingling, Naruto pushed past everyone into the tent. He was greeted with the sight of two beaming medics supporting their master, who was determinedly trying to push them away so that she could stand on her own. "Naruto." Sakura smiled. "Shishu's awake." Shizune's face was almost splitting from her ecstatic smile. "Atauto." Naruto's eyes filled with tears and he watched as Tsunade mumbled something about disrespect from pushy students and pushed the two away, wobbling for a moment as she regained her balance. Slowly Naruto stepped forward until he was embracing the old woman, burying his face in the crook of her shoulder. Eyes softening, Tsunade hugged him back. "It's alright Gaki, I'm alright." "Ba-chan," Naruto whispered with a voice so broken that Tsunade's heart shattered, I don't know what I would have done if I lost you too." The Senju princess stroked his hair. "Don't worry Gaki, I'm still determined to stick around until you give me some grandchildren." Naruto pulled back with a beet red face and Sakura and Shizune giggled at his expression. "Ba-chan." Tsunade giggled before she took in the cape with pride in her eyes, along with admiring his new looks. "So you really did make Hokage then, huh? What happened to the necklace I gave you then?" "It shattered when I fought against pain." Naruto admitted shamefully, a frown pulling at his lips. "I'm sorry, Ba-chan." The medic waved off his concerns. "Don't worry about it Gaki, this way the curse ends here and that new one's pretty cool. But since you're my successor, there is much that I have to teach you." Sakura frowned. "But Shishu, you just woke up from a..." The blonde woman rounded on her apprentice, face stern and eyes burning. "I can do damn well whatever I want. And if it's teach the Gaki how to be Hokage then that's what I'm going to do." "She's right, Sakura." Shizune agreed with a giggle. "Lady Tsunade is back to full health, she just needs to get used to everything again." Tsunade smirked in victory, putting a hand on Naruto's shoulder. "See what I mean? Anyhow, we'll be back in time for that Gokage meeting those two were talking about when I woke up." And the two were gone in a shunshin. They appeared outside a mansion that had been untouched by destruction and Naruto saw why when he sensed the barrier surrounding the place. "Ba-chan, is this?" "Yup." Tsunade said as she walked up to the door and bit her thumb, rubbing some blood onto it. "It's the Hokage mansion, your new home. Now get over here and key in your chakra so that it recognizes you as the new Hokage." Naruto did so and followed her in. He took in the hallway with wide eyes, seeing the portraits covering the walls. First there were the 5 Hokage on one wall with extra space for future ones, including him. On the other wall there were portraits of the legends of Konoha, such as Haddock Tsukumo, Haddock Kakashi, Sarutobi Asuma, Jiraiya, Uzumaki Kushina, Uzumaki Mido, Mitarashi Anko, Mido Gai, and many more with plenty of extra room to spare. They got through the hallway and saw a black marble kitchen with an island in the middle. To the left was the living room. There was a giant white wraparound couch, a white love seat, white carpets, basically everything was white as opposed to the kitchen. There was a coffee table with scrolls and ink there and bookshelves lining every wall, but the one looking at the back of the house. Instead it was a sliding door with bamboo curtains. Through the door on the left of the kitchen was a hallway. Straight down it led to bedrooms and there was a staircase on the right in the middle of the hallway leading to the upstairs bedrooms. One room was obviously an office, a good place for him to use, Naruto thought happily, and then there was an amazing master bedroom. There was a king-size bed with fire country comforters with silk sheets and pillows, 2 giant walk-in closets, 2 dressers, and a huge window that allowed the room's occupants to see the whole of Konoha with transparent maroon curtains. The room was obviously lived in. Noticing his look, Tsunade chuckled. "Don't worry Gaki, I'll be moved out by the time you get back." Naruto nodded gratefully. "Thanks Ba-chan, I'll make sure you get one of the better houses, although that's difficult because they're all the same, so everyone gets a place as nice as the others." Naruto said, and Tsunade loved the idea. "Although this place is huge. Just wait until you see the yard." Tsunade smirked and before Naruto could comment she grabbed his shoulder and shunshined them to said yard. Naruto's jaw dropped. There was a private onsen, a huge training field filled with plenty of dummies, but what really caught the blonde teen's eye was the garden. It wasn't well known, but that was one of his favorite pastimes. Again Tsunade grabbed his shoulder and they appeared in the basement. There was a huge pool that could be turned on to create huge waves, a huge rock climbing wall, and a training room with targets. "So," Naruto raised a brow, "you're going to teach me?" Tsunade sobered and they headed upstairs and into the office. Each took a spot at the desk as the Goddam took out a file of S-rank scrolls. "Now," she began, "you are about to discover all of Konoha's dark secrets. The truth hurts more than it normally does when lies were what you wanted to hear." 3 days later. "You're late, Kankuro." Temari accused. "Assembling my new puppets took longer than expected." Kankuro glared at his elder sister by 2 years. Temari rolled her eyes. "Excuse me Mr. Important. I'm sorry that you were late to leave on a very crucial journey to guard your younger brother, who is also the leader of a village, because you had to play with your dolls." "Look who's talking," Mrs. I wear 4 ponytails for a fashion statement. Kankuro scowled. Why you little? Mitsuri gave Gaara a sympathetic smile. Kazuki-sama, have a safe journey. A noble stepped forward. Lord Kankuro, Lady Tamari, we're counting on you. Tamari fanned herself, looking quite sexy to the male population. We know. Kankuro swung his bag over his back, looking annoyed. But Gaara doesn't really need any bodyguards. Gaara turned around, adjusting the scarf around his neck slightly as he took one last look at the villagers who had come to see him leave. His green Kazuki hat hung from his gourd. We're off. His siblings followed. Tamari's eyes narrowed. Gaara will be the youngest Kage amongst the 5 Kages. Making sure the other Kage don't take him lightly will also be our duty. The 5 Kage Summit Conference, Kankuro muttered. I wonder what the other Kage are like. In the building of stone, Iowa, citizens were gathered to watch their elderly leader leave. One Kunoichi waved happily. Kuritsuchi, Akatsuki, we're counting on you too. Tsuchikage-sama. Show the other Kage what you're made of. Having to go to summits at my age is quite a chore. The Tsuchikage complained, rubbing his sore back. Hanging from his neck was the great Tsuchikage hat. Look at those young ones romping around, they don't even know what it's like to have chronic back pain. Kuritsuchi smirked. Then maybe it's time to retire, Gramps. Why drag out the glory? Akatsuki let out a loud belly laugh. Let me carry that pack for you then, Tsuchikage-sama. Without a problem he leaned down to pick up a large crate. Inoki paused before realization dawned on him. He pointed an accusatory finger at the large man. Hands off, Akatsuki. I don't need your help. He pulled on his hat and slid his arms into the straps of the pack Akatsuki was still holding out for him. The moment the younger male let go of the pack the old man grunted and groaned, legs shaking under the strain of its weight. HMPH, this is nothing. That is until a loud crack was heard and he bent over, howling in pain. He fell back onto his butt, eyes wide. Oh, my back. Well, want to send someone else for you? Kuritsuchi asked arrogantly. Inoki shook his fist at her. Why you idiot? Who do you think I am? I am the Tsuchikage, once feared as Inoki the fence-sitter of the hidden stone. He slowly stood. Enough. I shall carry my own packs. He slid the pack back on and shook for a few moments until he howled again. Ahhhhh. Kuritsuchi brought a hand to her temple to massage it, closing her eyes. Geez, what a stubborn old geezer. Akatsuki leaned over and effortlessly hauled the Tsuchikage over his head and onto the pack on his back by the old man's own. Here, you can carry your own pack if you wish. He smiled while Kuritsuchi held back her giggles. He grabbed the Kage hat which had fallen off before turning to leave, Kuritsuchi in tow. Now then, we're off. Inoki crossed his arms, turning up his nose. Of all the whatever. Do as you please. Just admit that's better, Jiji. Kuritsuchi said condescendingly. Have a safe journey, Tsuchikage-sama. He should just step down and give Kuritsuchi the place. One shinobi muttered. Inoki glared into the crowd. What was that? I may be old, but my hearing is as good as ever. Nothing. Have a safe journey. Inoki nodded sagely. That's what I thought. In the bleak village of Kiri, birds chirped happily. Despite its dark but cheery appearance, Kurigakure was still recovering from its civil war. An old man supporting his weight with a cane taller than himself held out the blue Mizukage hat with a withered hand. Guard Lady Mizukage well. Make sure she doesn't overdo things. I know. Ao responded dutifully to the village elder. Said elder ever so slowly and shakily inched his way forward to give the beautiful Reed-Eater hat. All the shinobi around watched and waited impatiently for him to finally reach her. When he finally made it, Mei's slender hand reached out and she gave a smile. Arigato gozaimasu, great elder. I swear upon my title of Mizukage to carry out my duties with brilliance. The elder chuckled while a shinobi looked at his leader seriously, changing his gaze to her youngest guard. Chijuro, you are one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. Protect our Mizukage well. Hi. The adorable Chijuro shifted nervously. We should be fine, I think. Have more confidence in yourself. Mei comforted, making him blush. You are strong, and that is why I chose you to accompany me to the summit. Okay, Chijuro. Her eyes closed as her full lips stretched into that pretty smile. Chijuro's hand raised to over his heart. Why yes ma'am. I can handle it I think. She's so kind. Yes ma'am would be enough. Ao scolded. Such an uncertain attitude will get you nowhere. He held a hand to his head in distress. I swear, young people these days lack the dedication to manage themselves. Mei's hair overshadowed her eyes. Manage. Marriage. Ow, enough with the lecturing. The elder reprimanded. Get going or you'll be late. Mei's teeth grit. Late for marriage. It's my way of offering advice. Ao responded. Why, in my day. His eye widened as Mei leaned in towards him. An innocent yet dark smile played on her lips, eyes closed as she whispered to him in a threatening voice. Shut up or I'll kill you. Sweat rolled down the side of Ao's face. Huh? What did I do? Doing a complete 360, Mei spun around and held the Mizukage hat up to the sky, facing her citizens with a cheery smile. Alright Chijuro, Ao, let's go. And they were on their way. Chijuro watched her with determination. I will do everything to protect that smile on our gentle lady Mizukage. Here and to catch up, I hope I can. Ao was still frozen in place and a shinobi spoke up. What are you doing, Ao? Mizukage-sama has left. Turning around, the war veteran's eyes widened. Oh no. Lady Mizukage, wait for me. Gumo was a sight to behold, with all of its building being perched atop tall rocks and built with unique designs. Although none were more unique than that of the Reikage Tower with its blue dome. Still no word from Team Samui. A exclaimed. No, sir, but I do expect to hear something too. Shai remarked, lax in his position in front of the Reikage's desk. Mabui adjusted her clipboard. And Samui has already been given the route you will take to the summit, Lord Reikage. She will either rendezvous with you or send a message bird. Yosh, then I will be off as well. A said loudly with a nod. Bracing himself, he used his arms to propel his body over the desk in a front flip, landing in a squat with his left fist on the floor and right hand on his leg. Let's go Shai, Derry. Shai nodded dutifully. Yes sir. Derry rolled his eyes, slouching. Right. Follow me. The Reikage declared, leaping up and right through the window. As his two guards walked to see through the broken window the damage that their leader caused, Mabui groaned in exasperation. Not again, she sighed. Preparing himself, Shai was ready to leap out too. Ikuzo, Derry. Derry scratched the back of his head. Nah, I'll just use the door. Go on, I'll catch up. Shai protested. But he's paying for the damage he caused, so we won't owe anything this time. Thinking it through, Derry shrugged and they followed their leader through the path of destruction he created. Hokage-sama, stay safe. We believe in you, don't let them get on your nerves. Hinata smiled. Good luck, Naruto-kun, Kiba-kun, Kakashi-sensei. Sakura gave her blonde teammate a sisterly look. Stay out of trouble, Naruto. Yosh. Lee and Guy fist pumped. Show them your flames of youth burn brightly. Don't be too rash. Niji warned with a smirk, Tenten nodding at his side. Kurenai gave a wave as her hand rested on her side and Shikamaru, Choji and Ino all gave lazy salutes. Show them what we've got, Rakudame-sama. The Konohamaru Corps were jumping up and down. You can do it, Naruto Nai. Shikaku looked depressed. I'll watch over everything, Rakudame-sama. Naruto gave everyone a salute, dressed with his cape on and his Hokage hat hanging on his back. Thank you everyone, as the great Rakudame I'll do my best. Kiba gave a fanged grin from Naruto's left side, Akamaru woofing as his tail wagged. On Naruto's other side, Kakashi turned a page in his book with a perverted giggle. Sweat dropping, Naruto turned and they began the journey, smiling at how everyone in his village had come to see him off. It felt good to be respected for once in his life and know that all of these people were behind him. As they leaped through the trees, Kakashi put his icha in his weapon pouch and raised a brow at his student. So, Hokage-sama, are we going straight to the summit? Knowing you, you have a minor detour planned before we get there. Kiba nodded. He does have a point, Naruto. He shrank back when the silver-haired copy nin gave him a look. Kiba, he started, you have to make sure that you use proper respect in front of the other Kage. His gaze turned to Naruto. You too. The two boys backed off. Hi, Kasan. Rolling his eyes, Kakashi jumped to the next branch. So, where are we going? I want to stop in Omegakure to see Konan-chan, I have to talk to her. Naruto sobered. Konan? Kiba asked, tossing Akamaru a treat from midair. I heard you talking about her after you defeated Pain. Was she that girl with the origami flower in her hair who attacked us and smelled like paper? Naruto nodded. That's her. So why do you want to talk to her if she attacked with Pain? Kakashi inquired. It's because since Nagato is dead, she is the new Amikage. I think it'll be a good idea if we ally ourselves with them, as it was the origin of Akatsuki. Both Kiba and Kakashi's jaws dropped. Really? Yeah. Naruto nodded. She also respects me, so all I'll have to do is bring up the idea and she'll agree. Silence reigned as they traveled until the trees thinned out and they entered the ever-rainy region of Aim. They entered the desolate metal city and took in the sights, asking a few people here and there where the Angel's Tower was. Finally they managed to find it and after assuring the secretary that they were only there to talk, were they lead to the office. Taking a deep breath, Naruto knocked. Come in. A low feminine voice replied. They entered to see Konan sitting at a desk, still wearing the Akatsuki cloak. Konan-chan. Naruto rose a brow. Were you still wearing that? Konan sighed, sadness slightly showing through her eyes. Yuhiko, Nagato, and I began Akatsuki to bring peace to the world. I am honoring them by doing this. She took on a lighter note. So, I see you became Hokage. I knew you could do it. Naruto grinned with a bow. Arigato. But I don't have much time, so let's get to business. What would you say if I asked for your permission to give you a Hiraishin kunai in case you're in danger? Or if I proposed an alliance between Konoha and Omegaker? Anko-san, I detect two incoming shinobi. Sai whispered to his companion. Anko turned to look at him with narrowed eyes. Two. That's it. We can take him. She turned and prepared to strike, unaware for the future events. She landed on a tree branch beside Sai, but the explosive notes located there blew up, catching Sai unaware and sending him headfirst into a tree. Shakily standing up, Anko glanced at her wounded teammate before glaring into the trees. You bastards. Silence. Under orders of Lord Danzo you are to be exterminated. Daimo said monotonously as he stepped out, shuriken in hand. He sent them flying at Anko who dodged, sending snakes flying out of her sleeves towards the Rutanin. Daimo moved to the side, but one wrapped around his leg and pulled him down. He was saved when Tara appeared and sliced the snake's head off. Anko hissed as she took in their appearances and words. They're working for Danzo, and now the old asshole made me his target. Damn it. She winced as a kunai skimmed her right arm and held the wound with a grimace. She sent more snakes at the two to distract them before bringing a hand to her mouth. Kaiten. Ryuken no Jutsu. She sent a huge dragon of flames at the enemies. Seeing the incoming threat, Daimo did some hand seals to form a jutsu to provide him and his ally cover. Suiton. Sujinheki. As Anko peered into the mist caused by the collision, her eyes widened and she ducked just in time to avoid decapitation from Tara, who had materialized behind her. Gritting her teeth, Anko rolled and sent projectiles in the direction of each root ninja before doing a sequence of seals. Senijashu. She called out as large snakes shot from the sleeves of her trench coat towards the two through the weapons she'd thrown. Most of the weapons impacted their target and the two stumbled, but Anko was no better. She was panting, burned from the explosion, and that kunai that hit me was poisoned. As realization on why her vision was getting blurry and reflexes were slowing, the Takubetsu Jounin sank to her knees, straining to move. She looked up to see Tara pin her arms and Daimo to ready his tanto to strike her down. Her eyes widened before closing. I guess that this is where I die. But the blow never came. She slowly managed to open her eyes, but the last thing she saw before collapsing were the dead bodies of her enemies, the unconscious eye, and the scaled and smirking face of Kabuto. Meanwhile in the Konoha archives Team Samui sat at a table with scrolls and brushes, while two-leaf shinobi watched on. Gah, my hand hurts. Amoy complained. What if I get tendinitis from this and it causes my swordsmanship to deteriorate and I end up getting hurt in battle? He was unaware of Carrie grinding her teeth. And despite the frantic efforts of the girls on the medical team, I die. Keep moving your hand and not your tongue, won't you? Carrie finally blew up, but Amoy only rested his chin on his hand. We have to hurry up and consolidate the data on Uchiha Sasuke and the Akatsuki, or we'll be here forever. She hit the table. One of the Konoha shinobi pushed his glasses up from his position behind Samui. Could you please keep your voices down? Abruptly Samui stood and faced the shinobi nervously. My apologies. She bowed. A few hours later. Ah, finished at last. Carrie exclaimed as the three left the building. Damn, that sucked. Samui began to reprimand them. Try to maintain your cool more if you want to call yourselves ninja, got it? We must hurry to Reikage-sama. Right. Amoy nodded. Got it. Carrie said as she closed the door behind them. As they began to walk a seed got stuck in their sandals, causing the footwear's sole to minorly break without them knowing. From above the unaware team, a man apologized. Sorry, but I'm planting signal seeds on you. I may not look it, but tailing is my specialty. Yamato emerged from the cliff face below the monument. Now, then I should catch up to Kakashi-senpai and Hokage-sama. Team Samui were jumping through the treetops, on their way to meet their leader. Amoy caught up to Carrie. So, do you guys really think that Naruto will be a good Hokage? Judging by how cool the shinobi and civilians of Konoha think him to be, I say yes. Samui remarked. He also seems like he's a fair person with the right kind of goal. Nah, do you think we got stronger training with Naruto's friends? Carrie mused with a grin. I feel a lot better with my skills and I think that we all have gotten a ton better. Amoy nodded. But we still should train more because what if we aren't strong enough and someone manages to take us hostage and then they torture us until we give up the information we have on Sasuke and the Akatsuki and then with that info they manage to take over the world. Carrie's eyes burned. Baka, shut up. That won't happen. She hit him on the head, sending him spinning into a tree branch. Amoy watched with disdain as his sucker hit the forest floor. Geez. Your hands move as quick as ever. As Samui watched the familiar scene play out, she rolled her eyes. So not cool. Jujuro. May called as the teen set down his hiramekure. The three were settling their room. Your great twin sword Hiramekure must have been heavy during the journey. Are you alright? Tajiro blushed. Hi, although I feel a bit warm. Let me see. Mei approached him and grabbed his shoulder, pulling him close enough to rest their foreheads together. Chijiro gulped. You do have a slight temperature. Ao turned to look at them from gazing out the window. Lady Fifth, you spoil Chijiro too much. This is why youth these days get so full of themselves. Feeling feverish after a short walk like that. In my day. Ow. Mei released a blushing Chijiro to shoot said man an icy glance. We're no longer in the dark ages where we were known as the village of the bloody mist. The nightmare under the fourth Mizukage is over. Please stop harping on about the past. Ao inclined his head. Sumimison, The Mizukage interrupted with sheer. Now, let us stop this depressing talk and have some dinner instead. Her eyes closed and she smiled. I am looking forward to the meal here. Tajiro's eyes widened. The elder male leaned forward. What's for dinner? Something engaging, I hope. Mei stiffened at his choice of words. Engaging. Engagement. Ao began to head to the door. You did make arrangements for dinner, didn't you, Chijiro? Tajiro looked down. There were so many choices. In the end, I couldn't decide. As he talked he did a silly little dance. Their leader's brow twitched. In the end, it was. Ao scolded the teen. Such indecisiveness. Youth these days have no ambition in their hearts, only voids. Void. That was the last straw for Mei. I'm so sorry. Chijiro saluted, preparing to dash away. I'll get on it right away. Mei's eyes were glowing red. My engagement in the end it was void. She stalked up to Ao as he began his why, back in my day thing and leaned in close to whisper. Shut up or I'll kill you. Why? Man, it's getting cold. Sujetsu shivered as he and his team leapt through the trees near Tetsu no Kuni. The land of iron is just a stone's throw away. White Zetsu responded. Perrin gasped. Wait, there's something up ahead. The group from Iwa were situated around a fire in their stone hut. I've never been to the land of iron, I'm so excited. Akatsuki exclaimed. Inoki humphed at his guard. There's nothing special about it. Guritsuchi sipped her steaming beverage. What's it like though, Jiji? Inoki sighed. It lies among the mountains known as the Three Wolves, or Sanru. It has its own culture, its own jurisdiction, a powerful military, and it maintains neutrality. Akatsuki bit into his food. So it has its own culture and power. What makes it different from the land of Earth? There is a long-standing rule that ninja will not meddle with it. Tetsu no Kuni does not rely on shinobi. Instead, it is protected by those who are known as samurai. Standing out in the snow on the bank of an unfrozen lake, Jugo, Karen, and Sasuke awaited their fourth teammate. Not too long later Sujetsu's head popped out of the icy water. How did it go? Karen inquired curiously. The security is real tight due to the Gokage summit. Sujetsu reported. Sasuke shifted his gaze to his child-looking orange-haired teammate. Jugo, use animals to scout out the route to the summit where the security is thinnest. Okay. Jugo replied. In front of the main building, Mifune stood at the foot of the stairs flanked by two samurai as he greeted the newcomers. Welcome, Kazuki-sama. My name is Mifune, Taisho of Tetsu no Kuni. Tenkuro had his arms up to try and warm himself up, not used to a cold climate, while his siblings maintained neutral facades. Gaara moved his scarf down from over his mouth. It is a pleasure to meet you. I am the Kazuki-age, Subaku no Gaara. It's cold. Kankuro cried out, hopping from foot to foot. The climate is totally different from Kei's no Kuni. Mifune chuckled. Some hot tea will warm you up. Please, come inside. In reply, Kankuro sneezed. An owl flew down and landed on Jugo's outstretched arm while White Zetsu watched curiously. How is it? Sasuke questioned. Jugo glanced at the man he had pledged his allegiance to. We can go up a route on the west side. There aren't many guards. Sasuke turned to look at his female teammate. Karen, keep checking the chakra positions of the guards. We're going to infiltrate now. Karen raised her hands. I have to come too. Sujetsu gave a toothy smirk. This is the time to demonstrate your powers. Zetsu, was it? Sasuke turned to the white half of the plant man. Nani? White Zetsu smirked. I need you to confirm which one is Danzo. You're coming too. Somewhere near the land of iron, Torun and Fu glanced up from beside Danzo as one of Sai's birds came towards them. Danzo grabbed it and it turned into a report. It's one of Sai's birds. Fu said, saying the obvious. Torun waited a while before asking. What is it? Danzo gripped the scroll tightly, but other than that showed no sign of annoyance. Just a routine report. Let's go. Team Taka had now put up the hoods on their cloaks to ward off the chill. Why can't we just ambush him before he arrives? Sujetsu griped. I'm getting tired. Karen turned to glare at him. Are you stupid? If the Hokage is late, they're bound to think something is wrong. Then samurai enforcements will swarm all over the place. And what if the other Kage come too? We don't know the enemy's strength, so we should wait for a chance to give a surprise attack on his way home. Nah, Sasuke. Sasuke frowned. Karen, just focus on the enemy's chakra positions. Sujetsu laughed and pointed at Karen. Haha, busted. Karen glared at the shark boy. Urusei. Sasuke, Zetsu smirked, it seems you have your hands full. Never mind that. Sasuke retorted. I need you to verify which one is Danzo before the meeting. You better not lie. I am attuned to chakra. Karen remarked. There's always a disturbance in chakra when one lies. So just remember, I'll be checking on you all the time. Wide Zetsu turned to look at her. I won't lie, as Danzo is a hindrance to us too. Shai looked up as he sensed something. Reikage-sama, it's Team Samui. Alright. A responded. Let's descend. They landed on the ground and awaited the team's arrival. I have returned from Konoha. Samui reported. A rose a blonde brow. And how did it go? Before Samui could reply, Shai tensed. Samui, you've been tailed. Come out, you hidden leaf dogs. Naruto sent a grin at Kiba and Akamaru before he and his guards leaped out and landed in front of the Kumo ninja. Yo. Harry gave a dreamy sigh. It's Hokage-sama. A scowled. A mere child was chosen as the Hokage. We were all positive that the old crone Danzo was chosen. Yeah, whatever. Naruto crossed his arms. I just wanted to talk to you before the summit. Yamato's sweat dropped while Kakashi sighed. Kiba carelessly threw a snowball for Akamaru to catch. And what about? A asked impatiently. The Hokage's face turned serious. It's about Uchiha Sasuke, the man who kidnapped your brother. A fumed. Don't you dare speak of that traitor. Naruto glared at the Reikage. He's being manipulated. I have found out a way to make him realize that what he is doing is wrong, but I won't get the chance to do so if you or anyone gets to him before me. He killed and kidnapped my only brother. A roared. Why should I give you a chance? Taking a deep breath, Naruto kneeled. I ask this as a friend and as the leader of Konohagakure. Please do me this one favor and I will find a way to repay you. Team Samui sent the Reikage hopeful glances as he pondered over it. Reikage-sama, he gave us info on Sasuke and the Akatsuki. He even told us that they need to capture Jinchuriki alive, so there's a chance that B-sama isn't dead. Eventually A crossed his arms and glared at the 15-year-old Hokage. Fine, I will find a way to have you repay me. I will let you encounter Sasuke, but if your plan doesn't work, he's all mine. Naruto nodded, giving Yamato a grateful nod to signal to him to return to Konoha. Then Naruto stood. Thank you, Reikage Dono. Beware of missing chances, otherwise it may be altogether too late. He took that chance, and all was fine for now. My head, what happened? Sai wondered as he sat up. The first thing that he noticed were two dead root ninja and the fact that Anko was gone. His eyes widened. We were attacked, but it looks like someone wanted Anko-san more than Danzo. I need to send a message to Naruto. He tried to use the tree as support to stand as his vision began to swim and his head throbbed. Sai couldn't fully remember what he was doing before the attack and he was pretty sure that it was a sign he had a concussion. So he sank down and wrote out a message, turning it into a bird and sending it off with orders to go to Naruto. With that he started his slow trek to Konoha. Outside of Sanru many shinobi stood on vigil, despite the blowing wind and snow piling onto their shoulders. Inside the building Team Taka and White Zetsu were hidden from prying eyes as they watched Mifune bring in the Suna escort and welcome them. They were soon followed by the escorts from Kiri, but there was no sign of the Kumo and Konoha escorts. Sasuke grit his teeth. Damn it, where are they? Zetsu tried to calm him. Sasuke. Let's try somewhere else. Sasuke contemplated it. Fine. Let's go. Karen, lead the way. Hi, Sasuke-kun. Unfortunately for them soon the other two escorts arrived together, the Kage's faces overshadowed by their hats as they were led to the council room titled Samurai. Over each Kage's head was a banner depicting their nation. Mifune bowed his head. Please remove your hats. Once that was done the lights turned on and illuminated the banners. The 5 Kage have been assembled as per Reikage Dono's request. I am Mifune, you moderator. The Gokage summit will now commence. Not a word was spoken as all of the shinobi analyzed each other. Gaara, Temari, and Kankuro were all shocked to see Naruto in the Hokage's seat looking very different, but small smiles lifted their lips. Naruto nodded at Gaara, who nodded back. The redeed began. I shall start, so listen. Inoki scoffed. Looks like there's been quite a change in the 5 Kage recently. The Hokage and Kazekage are quite young, around 16. It is impressive for you two to become Kage at your age. Naruto frowned. 15 actually, Tsuchikage Dono. Kiba, Kakashi, Akamaru, Kankuro and Temari were slightly tensed at the veiled insult. Oh? Inoki chuckled bitterly. I apologize. 15. Now who are you, Hokage Dono? My name is Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, Rakudame of Konohagakure. Naruto replied in annoyance. Namikaze Inoki tapped his fingers on the table. Where have I heard that name before? Guritsuchi stepped in. Jiji, it's the name of the… Inoki rounded on her. No, don't tell me. Just give me a minute. The Kage watched in amusement before Gaara spoke again. As I was saying, Inoki stood on his chair and pointed an accusatory finger at Naruto. You're the son of the Yondaime Hokage, Konoha's Yellow Flash, who single-handedly wiped out 3/4 of my military in the Third War. Naruto nodded, amusement showing in his eyes, yet his face was serious. That's my father, but as you should know, carrying grudges should be past you. After all, I started the war, my father finished it, Tsuchikage Dono. The ever-stubborn Tsuchikage's jaw opened and closed, but when no words came out, he sat back down. He grumbled to himself as the brat was actually right, and the Raikage and Kakashi looked impressed and relieved that the knucklehead Naruto had a quick tongue practically made to give retorts to insults. It helped in politics. May frowned. That is enough interruptions, Kazekage Dono, you may continue. Gaara nodded. I am a former Jinchuriki, and Hokage Dono is currently one. Akatsuki captured my Bijuu and nearly killed me. The Suna and Konoha escorts were seething at the Tsuchikage's disrespect but remained silent. That is why I consider Akatsuki to be an increasing threat. I requested aid from the 5 Kage many times but was repeatedly denied, except by the Yondaime Hokage. In a time when various countries have had their Jinchuriki stolen, the response of this group has been far too slow. Inoki scoffed again. HMPH. For a hidden village of one of the 5 great nations to reveal that their Jinchuriki has been stolen is extremely humiliating. The natural thing to do is to resolve this internally, to ask other countries for help when this is happening is completely unheard of. Decency, Gaara murmured. What an old-fashioned way of thinking, it's what old people do. Naruto sked. The Tsuchikage scowled. What brats. May God everyone's attention. Old-fashioned or not, as the Mizukage, I will have to admit that we've indeed fallen behind on the issue. However, just because we have been robbed of our Bijuu does not mean we must give ourselves into fear so readily. It takes great skill and wisdom to control a Nijuu, not to mention time. The Jinchuriki and Bijuu must grow together to adapt to one another. Inoki admitted. Even then, controlling them is difficult. It can't happen overnight. Isn't that right, Kazekage Dono, Hokage Dono? Gaara remained silent, so Naruto spoke up seriously. Still, the only ones who have been said to control the Bijuu are Uchiha Madara, the Shodaime Hokage Hashirama Senju, the Yondaime Mizukage Agura, Raikage Dono's younger brother Kurabi, and myself. Why you have full control over the Kyuubi? Gaara actually stuttered while Temari and Kankuro were wide-eyed with all of the room's occupants excluding Kakashi. Naruto frowned. Yes, I do have full control, but me and Kyuubi are partners. We work together. Inoki saw a new side of the blonde brat. So you're saying that your own father sealed the strongest Bijuu into you, condemning you to a life of hate, and you don't even seem to hate him. If he can forgive his father for doing that to him, who's to say I can't let go of my grudge? It is Iwa's fault that we wanted more power and condemned ourselves. Judging by the fact that he's Hokage, his village respects him too. This brat sure is impressive. But as they spoke the Raikage's brow twitched and he jumped up, causing the guards to leap to protect their cage. Enough with the bullshit. A karate chopped the desk. When the dust cleared, each guard was frozen in a different position to deflect whatever attack they blocked. The Kage, however, were sitting patiently, except for A. Mifune sighed. We are here to talk. Please resist resorting to such rude behavior. Naruto face palmed. Stand down, Kakashi-sensei, Kiba, Akamaru. Gaara nodded. You too, Temari, Kankuro. Now, Chijuro, it's alright. The Mizukage assured. Inoki only jerked his head back, and his 2 guards nodded. A pulled his hand out from the shattered wood and fell back into his seat, crossing his arms. If the others didn't know better, they would think that he was pouting. The lights turned back on and Mifune gestured for them to talk. Let us continue where we left off. Konoha, Iwa, Suna, Kiri. The Raikage looked at each representative in turn. Akatsuki is composed of missing nin from your villages. And that's not all. We have discovered there are some among you, including your previous Kage, that used Akatsuki for their own benefit. Gaara's eyes widened. Used them? I don't trust any of you. A declared. I didn't come here to talk, I called you all here to question the depths of your loyalty. What do you mean we used Akatsuki? The Kazekage asked. A scoffed. So they haven't even told their current Kazekage. Go ask your village elders. He pointed. Your village used Akatsuki in the last war. Inoki reclined. At the moment, our nations are experiencing some sense of stability. Instead of expanding their militaries, they are disarming them. The threat of war diminishes as tensions ease between the nations. As a result, the hidden villages, the military forces of their nations, will be seen as costly and unnecessary. With that said, carelessly reducing the strength of the villages has its risks as well. What if war suddenly erupted? It'd be a real problem for them to rely on shinobi with no real battle experience. They would lose the war. He declared vehemently. Naruto agreed. So one way to avoid that risk was to use a group of mercenaries like Akatsuki, right? The eldest Kage continued. Training talented shinobi from your village requires time and money. Akatsuki's members, who live for war, are professionals always ready to fight. They'll go to war for quite a low price. And above all, they'll deliver the best results possible. The buff Reikage glared. Get real, Tsuchikage Dono. In response, Inoki did his hump. Suna used Akatsuki in its destruction of Konoha. It was Orochimaru. I'm not sure if he had left the Akatsuki yet or not, but because of him, Garudono, you father the Yondaime Kazukiage, and Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Sandaime Hokage, are dead. However, there is the possibility that this was all part of someone's grand scheme. He glared into nothing, picturing Danzo. Still, Kurigakure is the most suspicious of the lot. You never used diplomacy, and there were rumors that Akatsuki was formed in your village. The Mizukage looked downtrodden, but pressed on. I will tell the truth since we have come thus far. Don't tell me she's going to say it. Ao thought anxiously as Shijuro bit his lip with his sharp teeth. There were suspicions that my predecessor, the Yondaime Mizukage, was being controlled by someone. Naruto and Gaara perked up at Mei's words. It's possible to think it was Akatsuki. That's why we tried to keep such information from spreading. All of you looked angry. Inoki shot him a glance. Hold your tongue, Reikage Dono. Because you village ignored the rules of disarmament and continued to amass military strength and ninjutsu, others had to compensate by relying on Akatsuki. The Reikage stood and glared at the old man, slamming his hands onto the table. What did you say? Inoki chuckled. HMPH. Before this turns into another dispute. Naruto interrupted, hair overshadowing his eyes. I have some sensitive information I'd like all of you to know. What? The Reikage asked, calming slightly. The blonde Hokage frowned. I have defeated the figurehead of Akatsuki, Pain. Konoha was destroyed, but with my help, there were no deaths. Besides that, I have met the true Akatsuki leader Uchiha Madara. Everyone's eyes widened, the guard standing in stunned silence. Mei looked at Naruto, her movements edgy. Are you certain of that? Gaara looked curiously at his friend. Hasn't he been dead for several decades? That's right, he should be long dead by now. Inoki agreed. Naruto shrugged. I'm not actually sure, but I know he answers to two names. Tobi and Uchiha Madara. Are you saying that he's immortal? A demanded. Don't tell me he really was a monster. Inoki added his opinion. Naruto nodded. Considering that he has the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan, I think it could happen. The Reikage sat down heavily. Mifune cleared his throat. As representative of the neutral nations, I would like to say something. Akatsuki's leader read the flow of time. He utilized the suspicions the nations had for each other in times of peace to strengthen himself. The Reikage crossed his arms. What are you trying to say? The samurai Taisho closed his eyes. Have some patience. I'm saying we should turn calamity into fortune. It has been many years since the 5 Kage assembled like this. Well. He opened his eyes. Until Akatsuki is dealt with, what do you say to forming the world's first allied shinobi forces of the 5 hidden villages? An allied force? A repeated. Naruto looked stunned, but smiled. I like the idea. Everything's going wrong right now, so we have no one to trust but each other. Mifune nodded. Next, we should specify a chain of command. We must avoid confusion at all costs. The Tsuchikage cocked his head to the side. So, who will be put in charge of the shinobi Rengogun? Letting you all make the decision would only lead to more disputes. Mifune announced. Therefore, please respect the stance of the neutral nations and allow me to decide. I will determine which one of you 5 is the most qualified. His gaze swept over everyone, finally landing on A. As of now, Konoha is the only village with a Jinchuriki, the Kyuubi. It is essential that Hokage Dono's strengths are used in order to better our chances when facing Akatsuki. So, what do you say if I give the title of Supreme Commander of the Allied Shinobi Forces to the Reikage? Team Taka stopped their watch as Sasuke stood. They followed the youngest Uchiha by leaping from wall to wall. Not too much later they stopped and hid behind a pillar. Karen's eyes widened. Where'd he go? Sasuke frowned. Outside of the Sanru, Black Zetsu stood by Madara's kneeling form. Are you ready, master? Madara smirked. Let it begin. Back in Konoha, Sai limped into the village toward Sakura's home. Once there he knocked on the door and was greeted with a smiling face. Sai. Come in, come in. Sai gave a weak smile. Arigato, ugly. But now, there's something I must tell you. The Konoha 12 minus Sasuke, Naruto, Sakura and Kiba were gathered together to talk. Tenten and Choji were comforting a crying Ino. Niji's eye twitched. Ino, don't cry. Tenten glared at the Hyuga. Don't be so mean, Niji. Ino's always liked Sasuke-kun and now that there's rumors of him joining Akatsuki. It can't be helped. Niji wouldn't look at anyone. It's different from back then. Will they be fine? Shino questioned. If Ino's like this, what about Sakura and Hokage-sama? Let's leave that to Shikamaru. Niji said. He'll find a way to tell them. He still feels responsible as the leader of the team that failed to bring him back. Toji looked at Ino with sorrowful eyes. If only we could have brought Sasuke back with us. Niji looked to the sky. That's why he volunteered to do it. We need to stop relying on Naruto. Sai explained to Sakura. We need to learn to do things on our own. He's right. Shikamaru said as he entered. We need to put an end to Akatsuki, we need to stop Sasuke. I came here to get Team 7's consent beforehand. We can't allow Kumo and Konoha to go to war because of Sasuke. Let me rephrase it, so listen carefully. If Sasuke was killed by Kumo, you, Ino, and especially Naruto, wouldn't just sit still. Then, if you guys got reckless and ended up getting killed by Kumo, then Choji, me, Inoichi-san, and your parents would get involved. They would seek revenge, they wouldn't just sit still either. Then if me and Choji also got killed, then our parents would also join in on it. Before you'd know it, there would be a full-out war. Even if Naruto hasn't marked Sasuke as a criminal yet, Kumo is after him. If Sasuke continues to affiliate himself with Akatsuki while producing more and more hate everywhere, then I believe that he needs to be dealt with by Konoha. You understand what I'm trying to say, don't you? Both Sai and Shikamaru looked at Sakura. The Pinkette's bangs were overshadowing her eyes and her fists were clenched. Then she looked up with determination in her eyes. I understand. Shikamaru, we're going to go kill Sasuke. I've always been wrong, I've always failed Naruto, I know your plan. I'll play along with our friends for now, so you better hurry and save Sasuke. Me and Kakashi-sensei believe in you. I won't be wrong by putting my faith in you. I know you won't fail. Leave the me in charge of the allied forces. A looked contemplative. Naruto's eyes widened as he grinned. Why not, Jiji? I let you boss me around like Bachan does. A smiled. I agree. A Dono is a good choice. Breakage Dono. Gaara interrupted. We will do our best to defeat Akatsuki and save your brother. Inoki sighed. However much I'd like to deny it, the Kazukiage is right. Reikage Dono, you were the one who called the meeting. You're the reason we're all talking without violence. If they were older and more experienced, I might think of nominating Kazukiage Dono or Hokage Dono, but that isn't the case. They're right. A spoke up finally. I will accept the position of supreme leader of the Shinobi Rengogun. If you nodded at the dark-skinned blonde. I understand that power and drive are necessary to lead good soldiers, and you have both of those. I do hope that you will be able to lead with skills other than those, as if you rely too heavily on them, you will fail. But we have faith in you. This is just a calm observation from the representative of the neutral nations. We don't know why Akatsuki are collecting Biju yet, but it's clear that they must not get their hands on the Kyuubi. The Kyuubi belongs to Konoha, and the Hachibi might still be around, so I believe it is right to leave the Reikage in charge. It was at that exact moment that White Zetsu appeared from the floor in the middle of the table the Kage sat at. His face twisted into a happy smile. Hello. Immediately the guards appeared to protect their leaders. Naruto squinted. You're Zetsu of the Akatsuki, aren't you? They scowled. It's one thing after another. Now what? Zetsu grinned. Uchiha Sasuke-kun has infiltrated the building. I wonder where he could be hiding. The Reikage clenched his fists. What was that? Sasuke. Gaara muttered. That guy. What's he doing here? Temari added. May frowned. The one with the Sharingan. Bao's brow furrowed. The one who killed Haku and Zabuza. This guy is Akatsuki wondered. He's a member of the Akatsuki. Inoki explained. Just as Hokage Dono said. Zetsu's grin widened. Everyone, let's try to find Sasuke. Yeah. He threw his head back and laughed, but his neck was grabbed by the Reikage. They growled. Where is Sasuke? Spit it out. Zetsu's eyes were wide. This guy's speed is insane. The grip on Zetsu's neck was tightened. If you won't answer, I won't show any mercy. Naruto frowned. Jiji, remember that I'm the one who's taking care of Sasuke. The Reikage ignored Naruto. Shy, start searching. Now, Akatsuki, where's Sasuke? Answer me. The plant man frowned. Seems like I don't have a choice. I'll give you a hint on he was cut off as Ace snapped his neck. You didn't have to kill him. May murmured. If you had just captured and interrogated him, you'd probably get info on Akatsuki. Gaara turned his gaze to the Mizukage. There is no one in Akatsuki that would talk. they're a pretty hardcore bunch. Akatsuki, Yurikaku, send out an order to search for Sasuke immediately. Mifune ordered. Also, set the battle condition to level 2. The two nodded. Yes, sir. Shai's hands released a seal as he looked at his leader. Reikage-sama. They turned to look at Ao. One-eyed Kiryu tensed. Keep a lookout. Shai, Darui, let's go. He punched a hole through the wall, but before he could go anywhere, Naruto appeared in front of him with a scowl. Reikage don't know, remember our deal? He growled. I deal with Sasuke before you. Yeah. A calmed down, but was still angry. Can't you just let me fight him before you? I need to vent some frustration, and I promise that I won't kill him. Naruto thought about it before shrugging. Why not? Don't hurt him too badly though. He does need his ass kicked, and although I'd like to do it myself, I'll give you a chance first. I nodded and the two ran out through the hole. Barry sheepishly scratched the back of his head. I'm really sorry about the table and wall. Hey, Darui, that's not important right now. Let's go. Shai exclaimed. The two left. Kakashi scratched his chin. Ma, sorry about this, but we gotta go. Biba grinned, giving a fist pump while Akamaru barked, tail wagging. Yes, time for some action. Inoki sweat dropped. Well, that Reikage sure is rude. Even as a member of the 5 Kage that Kumo brat hasn't changed a bit. Yurikaku clicked on his radio. Set battle condition to level 2. Find the intruder, Uchiha Sasuke. Send 3 platoons to the entrance to the tower and make a defensive line. Let's go. A samurai ordered upon receiving the orders, and they all took off. Karen's eyes widened. This is. Sasuke looked at her. What's wrong, Karen? The samurai have started to move more frantically. She reported. It looks like they're searching for us. Sujetsu frowned. Why? We haven't done anything that would make them suspect us. Hugo caught Sasuke's eye. It's probably Zetsu's fault. The samurai branched out, searching behind the pillars. One caught sight of a cloak and pulled out his sword, charging. He froze when he saw that the cloak was pinned there by a kunai and glanced around. So they've run away already, huh? Sasuke leaped down and hit a pressure point, and the samurai collapsed to the ground. From above, Jugo, Karen, and Sujetsu all were hiding. Karen pulled at her hair. It's no use, there's too many of them. We'll be caught right away. Sujetsu shifted. So that Zetsu guy told them off, huh? I'll get him for this. Down below, the samurai drew their weapons and took offensive stances, channeling chakra into their blades. Sujetsu blinked. So that's how they use chakra. Karen gasped as she saw Sasuke step out in front of the samurai. I'm quite annoyed right now. The Uchiha smirked, hair overshadowing his eyes. If you come after me, I won't go easy. That's our line. A samurai leader declared, sending a chakra wave at Sasuke. Sasuke's eyes shot open to reveal Sharingan as he drew his blade, slicing up and deflecting the blast. The samurai looked anxious. He repelled it. It's just like our sword technique. Hugo got Karen's attention. Karen, don't worry about the samurai anymore. Focus on finding Danzo. What do we do about the samurai? She asked nervously. Hugo closed his eyes. I'll engage them, you just worry about Danzo. Karen ducked down, watching as the samurai charged at Sasuke who stood in wait, Raiten chakra crackling around his kusanagi. She gasped as she noticed something cold, almost evil. Sasuke's chakra, it's different. The samurai made it to Sasuke and raised his blade to strike, only to have it done to him. Sasuke leaped up and front flipped, landing in the middle of the group and cutting them down ruthlessly one by one. Sujetsu glared. That guy, so much for telling me not to kill anyone. Karen wrapped her arms around herself, shivering. His chakra's not the same anymore, it's even darker than the curse seal level 2. Also it's colder. There's a dark chakra erasing a bunch of others. Naruto and Shai said at the same time. It's gotta be Sasuke's. Where is it? Inquired. Akamaru ran with his nose pressed to the ground, Kiba and Naruto's grins began turning more and more feral, while Kakashi only sighed. Shai focused. It's directly below us. A crackling sound filled the hall as they ran, and Darui's eyes widened. Reikage-sama, are you going to? Karen gulped, eyes widening. Something's coming, and it's huge. Sasuke looked up as the room shook, and Jugo gaped. What the hole was made in the roof, and the two Taka members were forced to leap back to avoid being crushed by the rubble. Brat. Shouted, lightning surrounding his form as he threw off his cage outfit. I'm gonna teach you the fear of true rage. Sasuke tensed before taking off towards the seething Reikage. He didn't notice the Konohinin sneak behind a pillar to watch the battle. Jugo shouted. Sasuke, don't engage him by yourself. He's lost his cool. Sasuke pushed off the ground and raised his katana, readying for a downward strike as he descended towards the Kumagakure leader. Darui began a sequence of hand seals. Suiton. Sujin Heki. Sasuke was caught up in the wave of water. This guy, huh? He thought irritably. Still spitting out water, Derry did some more hand seals and thought. Raiden. Kanjike. Sasuke was electrocuted slightly and slid back to beside Jugo. Derry stood. Boss, it looks like he has a lightning nature, just as the intel says. He also has a nature in fire, so I'm sure he'll end up using a fire element technique. Derry, be ready to use your water element to counter him. Shai added helpfully. Derry nodded. Yeah. Glaring, Sasuke shifted, Kusanagi still covered in lightning. Karen looked over the edge of where she kneeled. It looks like they have intel on Sasuke. Sujetsu squinted. Hey, that guy in the middle that's. These guys are Jonin from Kumo. Jugo explained to the kneeling Sasuke. The guy in the middle is their Reikage, we won't get past them easily. Naruto elbowed Kiba. Oi, Kiba, Sasuke really is being a douche. Kiba grinned. Totally. I hope Reikage-sama makes him cry like a baby. Are you insinuating something inappropriate, Kiba? Kakashi teased. Kiba's face turned red. Akamaru yipped while Kiba blushed and shouted. Pervert. Later. Wait, why's Gaara here now? Kiba muttered. Naruto pouted. Ah, this is so getting out of hand. Kakashi blinked as he listened to Gaara talk to Sasuke before all of the three's eyes widened. He's crying. Naruto's eyes softened. Gaara. Kiba reclined, watching the fight boredly as he scratched Akamaru behind the ears. He disinterestedly glanced around the area before his nose twitched. Oi, Naruto. That Riti chick is hiding over there. Yeah, I sensed her. She's trying to sense for someone. Naruto explained. He looked up as Kuretsuchi appeared beside them. Hey, Hokage-sama. Mind if I watch with you? She asked. Naruto nodded with a grin, ignoring her blush. Join the party. Kuretsuchi's eyes widened. What happened to Reikage-sama's arm? Kakashi glanced at the Reikage. He sacrificed it to get a hit in on Sasuke. It was burned by Amaterasu, so he cut it off before his whole body would burn. Akamaru, Naruto, and Kiba whined as they held their noses while Akamaru covered his with his paw. And it stinks too. They continued to watch the fight though. Jugo and Sujetsu had been taken out and Gaara was fighting Sasuke. It didn't look like it would be ending soon either. Down at the bottom of the lake, a hand reached out from within the Hachibi's tentacle. Kurabi swam to the air above and began to tread water, glancing from side to side. Yosh, no one's here. He ducked back under and swam deeper. The plan I came up with at the last second worked out pretty well. He thought as he remembered the battle with Team Taka. Pretty well my ass. Jayuki scoffed. You sacrificed several of my limbs. He grinned. Don't get so angry now, Ado, yo. You can still sprout out them feet again, Fasho. Jayuki's sweat dropped. Stop with your annoying rapping before me. You suck at it. The Reikage's brother sank down in depression. Check it out, yo, I'm taking care of your ass, so I'm the baddest, yeah. He then sobered. So this time. What? Jayuki muttered. Don't start your stupid shit again. He climbed onto the shore and all of a sudden he broke out into a grin and rose his fist triumphantly. It's Enka time. He did a little dance as he then saw himself back on Jayuki's nose. He pointed at the Biju. However, with this I'm out of my brother's grip and I can head out of the village. I'm free. After all, I'm supposedly captured by the Akatsuki right now. The Hachibi didn't like the idea. The Reikage is probably causing a ruckus right now. Are you fine with that? He leaned back on the Biju. I've been chained to the village all this time as a weapon cause I'm a Jinchuriki. Gotta get some fresh air every once in a while, right? So what will you do? Jayuki sighed in resignation. Kurabi made a fist. When it comes to Enka, Kinchan sensei's the man. Who's he? He looked at the Biju incredulously. Get this into your head, he's the Enka ninja's head, Bikaru, Kanoyaru. You're acting very carelessly. Hachibi reprimanded. Akatsuki won't leave you alone. Besides, you're probably exhausted since you brought me out. Was there any point in bringing me out when you dominated the fight? Between everyone I've fought, those Sharingan eyes were strong enough to compete with numbers 1 and 2. B admitted as he began walking, scratching the back of his head sheepishly. I kinda got carried away. This era may be changing soon. Hachibi commented. B glanced at the Biju in his mind with a smirk. You mean through my Enka? Naruto blinked and smirked. Dude, that Susanoo looks pretty kickass. Kiba smirked. You're telling me. Akamaru nuzzled his master's hand to get him to continue petting him. The Hokage's eyes widened as he saw Sasuke aim. Oh shit, he's aiming to take down the roof. Kakashi blanched. What? Sasuke caught Karen with Susanu's arm. Have you located Danzo yet? Karen shivered. Yeah. He just entered the building. The Uchiha looked at her. Show me. The Redeed looked unsure. What about Jugo and Sujetsu? Their chakras still. Leave them be, they'll be fine. Sasuke said harshly, Karen flinching. Danzo comes first, so hurry up and show me. Naruto looked up as Sai's bird flew to him. He grabbed it and read the scroll, eyes widening. Kuretsuchi frowned. What is it? Naruto scowled darkly. Anko's been captured and I'm pretty sure Root helped Danzo escape. Diba gaped. What? Where is he? The Hokage lit the scroll on fire and stood with a scowl. He's already here. They threw the pillar off of him as Shai looked over at the others. They're safe over there too, huh? Eri looked at the destroyed roof before turning to Gaara. Thanks, Kazuki-sama. Then Kuro frowned as he looked away from his younger brother, whose hands were up as he held the sand that protected them above their heads. Sasuke used that opening to flee. Temari rested her hand on her fan. With a roof like this, we don't know what's going on with the others either. Gaara thrust his hands down, and the sand tipped over to throw the rubble away before the minerals returned to his gourd. We'll pursue Sasuke at once. A exclaimed. He paused when the Konoha group and Kuretsuchi appeared in front of him. Naruto crossed his arms. Nah, not so fast, Ajichi. You had your chance, and you got to fight with him. It's my turn now. The Hokage glared, but relented. Fine. He's your problem now. Ao looked up and glared. Danzo. What are you doing here? Danzo walked into the room with Fu and Torin by his side. I would like to discuss some things with you. And what about? Inoki grunted. About Uchiha Sasuke. Danzo said obviously. Everyone tensed as Ao focused on sensing. He's here. The banners were all sliced down by Sasuke's sword. Fu looked from side to side before looking up. Above us. And there stood Sasuke, attached to the ceiling with chakra. Wordlessly Danzo and Sasuke analyzed each other. Mifune leapt up at the Uchiha with his sword drawn, aiming for a slash that Sasuke blocked. Mifune's gaze hardened. I shall fight him. Ao's eyes widened while Karen ran into the room. Sasuke-kun, Danzo got away. Ao jumped over the table while Sasuke and Mifune pushed away from their parry. Mizukage-sama and Chijuro, stay here. Ao said. I will pursue Danzo, our conversation isn't done yet. Okay, but don't go too far. Mei agreed. Roger. Ao responded. Then I leave Akatsuki to you. I have to watch my back. Inoki said, glancing at Akatsuki. You all do what you want. Akatsuki nodded. Sounds good. Sasuke landed in front of the door hole the Hokage made. Karen. Come. Hi. Uchiha's eyes widened and he dodged to the side to avoid lava that instead melted the wall and closed off the hole, sealing Sasuke and Karen in with the cage. Tajiro smirked, adjusting his glasses. Here it is, Mizukage-sama's bloodline limit. Yoten, the lava element. Sasuke turned to look at Mei as she wiped the lave off of her mouth. Akatsuki toyed with the Yonde Mizukage and trampled on our village. I can tell the Uchiha clan has fine men, now that I look at you, although the Hokage is better looking in my opinion. The Uchiha's eyes closed before he snapped them open to reveal his Mangekyo. Stay out of my way. Mei sighed as she stood. It's a waste that you're such a fine man, but at least I will give you a kiss that'll melt your heart. KK kiss? Karen asked in astonishment, pointing at her fellow retard. Who the hell is this bitch? Don't give him that sexual look, you old hag. Tajiro glanced worriedly at his Mizukage as a dark cloud formed around her. Mizukage-sama's getting fired up. I have to protect her. He looked nervously at Sasuke. However, this is the person who defeated Zabuza-san. Can I really do it? He readied his blade. No, I can. I'll give it my all. I say now, at least. Mei raised her hands in a seal. Tsuchikage dono, if you're not going to fight, please lower your head. Akatsuki prepared to protect his cage from any backlash as Mei spit lava at Sasuke. Karen's eyes widened. This again. The lava landed on Sasuke, but before it could touch him an ethereal ribsage protected his body. Karen landed hard as the two Iwa ninja jumped to the ceiling, Inoki scoffing. What does she mean, lower your head? Tajiro. Mei said, ducking. Hi. The swordsman replied as he jumped up with Hiramekure raised as its bandages unwound and it was surrounded in a blue aura. Hiramekure, release. A chakra spear shot into Sasuke Susanoo ribsage, pushing him back through the wall with a wince and sending him crashing into the hallway. Chijuro landed while the Mizukage ran out the door to take in Sasuke's panting form. Every cell in my body hurts. Sasuke thought with another wince, gasping for breath. So this is the risk Susanoo poses if I use it for a long period of time, this is what happens. It's not even in its complete form yet it hurts this much. How much did Itachi suffer? He looked up in time to see Mei standing with her hand outstretched, lava solidifying behind her to close off the final escape route. Now it's just the two of us. She smiled. Look to your left. I sealed the wall that was hid in preparation for this, now it's completely sealed off and there's nowhere to run. She raised her hands in a seal. I use 3 elements. Fire, water, and earth. That means I have 2 bloodline limits. Fun. Kamu no jutsu. Steam was released from her mouth to fill the hallway. Sasuke scowled as he glanced at the ribcage. It's melting. With a shout he threw his arms out, summoning forth a full Susanoo, but his heartbeat quickened and he fell to his knees with a strangled gasp. It seems you were beat down a bit by the Hokage and his guards. Mei observed. I'm sorry, but I have no intention in saving you. It always pains my heart to see a man crumble away like this, but she pointed at him. I'll kill you now. Sasuke flinched, holding up his arm in pain. So now it's acid mist. Mei gasped as a white substance began to grow on her arms. What? It began to grow on the people back in the room and on Sasuke too. Karen gasped and looked at Zetsu. This chakra. This is the Akatsuki from earlier. Mei hissed. Sasuke panted. This is that man's. Outside of the Sanru, Black Zetsu smirked. To think that the 5 Kage didn't notice my spore technique, what fools they are. Mei glared as a white Zetsu head grew. This is she blew steam at the face. Sucking away my chakra. Damn you. She melted it with heat, but it only got bigger until the face reached over to Sasuke, who realized it was giving him chakra. Ah, this sucks. Chijiro whined, pushing at the Zetsu face. He was knocked aside as a giant arm broke through the wall. Sasuke limped into the room and leaned on the wall. Sasuke. Are you alright? Karen gasped. The Mizukage gasped for breath. The acid is leaking out to the others. I need to change its density. She inhaled. Seems like they're having a hard time. Inoki commented. How about we join the battle, Akatsuki? Akatsuki nodded happily. Gotcha. He spit out a rock figure that grabbed the Zetsu on him and pulled, eating it until it was all gone. Inoki took a breath. Doten. Kajugan no jutsu. The Zetsu on him hardened into rock and shattered as it fell to the floor. Karen was thrown over the table near Sasuke due to the impact. Inoki floated in the air. HMPH. To think a brat like you killed Madara. I have no grudge against you, but the shinobi world wants you dead. A cube appeared in his hands. See ya. Sasuke's heart beat louder and he tried to leap back, but he was still caught. Jinten. Genkai Hakuri no Jutsu. Sasuke. Karen screamed as he was enveloped in white light. Sasuke's chakra is gone. And no way. Of course. The Tsuchikage dissuaded. His body's been dispersed into molecules, and you're next. The rest of the growing Zetsus were destroyed by lightning blasts as the Konoha, Kumo, and Suna groups ran into the room and took in the damage. They looked around. Where's Sasuke? Ara shifted his gaze to his brother. Kankuro. Yeah. The puppeteer responded, sending chakra strings at Zetsu and pulling him off Chijiro. Air Gado Gazamasu. Chijiro thanked him. Akatsuki nodded. We're very grateful. Naruto glanced at Inoki. Tsuchikage dono, where's Sasuke? The elder smirked. I smashed him into dust. The blonde shook his head. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. No. Yes. No. Yes. No. Yes. Can you two stop? Mifune blew up. Naruto tensed and everyone looked up as Madara appeared in a distortion of time and space, an unconscious Sasuke over his shoulder. My name is Uchiha Madara. Karen smiled gratefully. Sasuke. Madara gave her a weird look, although no one could see it. I just told you my name. Idiot. The Hokage threw his hands up. I told you that he calls himself Madara, but did you believe me? No. Madara continued. I have something that I want to explain to you. After you've understood it, I want to ask you something. The Hokage grew rigid. What is it? My goal. Project Tsuki no Mei. Once we're in Tetsu no Kuni, please keep an eye out for Naruto, Niji-san. Sai said. Niji nodded. Sure. Sakura remained silent. Lee looked at his teammate. What's wrong? Niji glanced at the pinket. Ino was only crying, but Sakura really is determined. I have no idea what she's going to do. Sakura-san probably has a few ideas. Lee replied. However, a 4-man cell is standard and I'm the one doing the searching. Niji frowned. Also, Sai had a secret request for me. The Anbu controlled by Danzo, he tasked me to make sure none of the remaining ones are following us. It's too bad Hokage-sama took Kiba and Akamaru with him. Akatsuki stabbed the dead Zetsu through the head just to make sure that he wouldn't be getting up again, while Ei frowned. Looks like Danzo has disappeared, just as Shai saw. Yeah, thanks to Sasuke. Inoki agreed. He'd just gotten here and we were about to discuss a topic with him, too. Madara chuckled, but was forced to dodge when the Hokage jumped at him covered in his lightning armor, so he sucked Sasuke into his dimension. I couldn't care less for Akatsuki's plans. Ei growled. I'll never agree to it. Sasuke's Karen gasped. Ei growled again. Bring Sasuke back. Naruto hissed in anger as Madara cocked his head towards the Hokage. Then listen to what I have to say. Depending on your answer, I might. Inoki floated to Ei's side. Calm down, Hokage. Let's hear what he has to say first. Madara landed behind Karen. Revived Sasuke. The Redeed shrieked in surprise as she too was sucked into another dimension. Tenkuro's eyes narrowed. So that's Madara's power. Temari agreed. Space-time ninjutsu. The masked Uchiha leaped back onto his perch. So, ladies and gents, have you finally decided to listen to what I have to say? Why did you want Sasuke on your side? Gaara asked. The Sharingan capable of awakening Susanoo is rare. Madara admitted. I wanted to stock up on good eyes. I wanted him to improve his ocular powers even more by putting him up against the 5 Kage. I was the one who sent Sasuke here. I was hoping to weaken the 5 Kage and take them hostage, but I guess that won't be happening anytime soon. Naruto scoffed. You bet your ass it won't. Hostages? May inquired. For what? So that my Eye of the Moon plan could be carried out without any complications. Madara sighed. Inoki smirked. I'm pretty surprised that the Uchiha Madara is still alive, but why would a man of your caliber choose such an indirect approach? With your strength you could make any plan go the way you wanted to. Madara scowled. The wounds I got from the Shodaime Hokage Senju Hashirama were too deep. Currently, I don't possess much power. My power is merely a shell of its former self, so to speak. So, is this a plan for you to return to your original self? Shai questioned. The Uchiha nodded. You could say so, but that's not all there is to it. What are you planning? Mifune spoke up. What in the world is the Eye of the Moon plan? I want to explain this thoroughly, so let me sit down for a bit. Madara said as he did so. Tenkuro glared. You heard him, what kind of plan is it? Kiba nodded as Akamaru barked. Come on, just tell us already. Madara held up a finger. Everything will become one with me. A complete being where all is unified. Everyone's eyes widened. Become one? All unified. Inoki echoed in disbelief. What does that mean? The Uchiha's eye narrowed. The Uchiha have a stone tablet that has been passed down for generations and it still exists beneath Konoha. On it is a secret that has been written by the Rikyu Sennin ages ago. To be able to read it, you need a special ocular power. By using the Sharingan, the Mangekyo Sharingan and the Rinnegan in order, you can decipher it. Kakashi rose a brow. Go on. After explanation. We will not hand over the 2 remaining Jinchuriki. May declared. Madara frowned. I may not have much power now, but I do have the power of the Biju Uchibi through Nanabi. You won't be able to win. Naruto and Gaara glared. We will not throw away hope. So be it, Madara muttered. I hereby declare the 4th Great Ninja War. The 4th Great Ninja War? Inoki repeated. Are you serious? Madara stood. Next time, we will meet on the battlefield. And he was sucked away. Inoki looked towards the ground. So, now what do we do? Gaara frowned. We must form an allied shinobi force. There is no other way for us to match the power of 7 Biju. Naruto too frowned as a clone of him appeared. I have business to attend, but I will leave a Kage Bunshin here. Kiba, Akamaru, Sensei, let's go. Hi, Hokage-sama. What was that all about? Kuretsuchi wondered. Everyone else shrugged. Who knows? Skip ahead to after. Sakura knocks out Lee, Niji, and Sai, Sasuke vs Danzo, Ao vs Fu, Chijuro and Mei help Ao, B vs Kisame. Sakura hit her chakra as she watched Sasuke sadly before clenching her fists. It was time. Pulling on her gloves, she jumped down to stand in front of her old teammate. Sasuke looked up. Sakura. Sasuke-kun. Sakura responded, gritting her teeth. Before I talk to you, I have some frustration I would like to vent out. Sasuke's eyes widened. While he dodged to the side as the earth beneath him crumbled from the force of Sakura's kick. He stuck to the side of a building, channeling chakra into his sword. He dodged again as a boulder was thrown at him. Realization dawned. She's no longer just an annoying fangirl, it seems she's as strong as me and Naruto. Sakura huffed in annoyance. Stop dodging. Let me hit you. What? Sasuke asked incredulously. Why would I do that? He froze as Kakashi, Kiba, Akamaru, and Naruto showed up. So, he really did reach his goal. Naruto smirked. Oi, team, it's cause you deserve it. Sakura, have a clone heal Karen. Are you ready, Kurama? Inside the blonde's mindscape, said Biju smirked. Gotcha, Kit. Jinjutsu's been activated. The youngest Uchiha stiffened as he was caught in the Jinjutsu and realized he couldn't dispel it. It was him, Sakura, Kakashi and Naruto standing alone in a deserted area. Sasuke glared. What did you do? You know what I did. Naruto said carelessly, before sobering. We have to talk. Sakura nodded, while Kakashi grunted in affirmation. We know what happened the night of your clan's massacre, but we want to know why you decided to choose vengeance. Konoha was the cause of all my suffering. Of Itachi's suffering. Naruto crossed his arms and frowned. It was all in your head, Sasuke. It only seems that way because you're acting like a child and exaggerating. He's calling me a child. Sasuke growled. I'm not exaggerating. Kakashi smiled. Yes you are. Sasuke crossed his arms. No, I'm not. Actually, you are. Sakura agreed. Sasuke relented. Fine, maybe I am. But that doesn't change what happened to Itachi and the Uchiha. My family. You're right. Naruto summed it up and Sasuke looked surprised that he agreed. Nothing can change what happened to them. But what about your brother's final wish? He wanted you to protect Konoha, not destroy it. You've already gotten your revenge on Danzo. But not the elders or the Sandaime. Sasuke bit out. Naruto shook his head. You're forgetting something. Danzo actually controlled them into agreeing with the plan to wipe out your clan. Sasuke deflated, but some hope no matter how insignificant shined in his dark eyes. Even after all those years that he dedicated himself to revenge, Naruto had somehow shown him his view of everything and showed him that there was a brighter side. Even if I did return to Konoha, no one would accept me. We would. Sakura piped up with a fond smile. Me, Naruto, Kakashi-sensei, Sai, Kiba, Neji, everyone. Sasuke looked unsure of himself. For once in his life, he wasn't sure what his goal was. Eventually, his head shot up and he glared at Naruto. I can't follow you, my path is that of vengeance. Arg. Sasuke yelled as the alternate reality peels away, leaving them standing on the water. Naruto looked sadly into Sasuke's eyes, seeing how utterly helpless and lost the other felt. Sasuke growled. Naruto. Sasuke. Then the world turned white. Naruto walked a few steps ahead of the others, eyes narrowed as he drifted through his thoughts. Sasuke, what's happening to you? You seem like you want to believe me, like you want to be on our side. I'm sure that you will follow Itachi's dream and protect Konoha, but what are you waiting for? His fists clenched as he stopped and punched a hole through the nearest tree. Damn it. Sakura glanced worriedly at the blonde. Naruto. We saw it too, Hokage-sama. Kakashi gave a weak eye smile, adjusting Karen who was on his back. She was pretending to be unconscious, but everyone knew that she wasn't and just needed to organize her thoughts after what she just went through. Together, we will be Team 7. We will wait because teams don't give up on each other. We won't give up on Sasuke. Naruto gave his sensei a small smile, gratitude showing in his eyes. Thanks, Kaka-sensei. Hiba frowned while Akamaru whined in distress. He eyed his leader solemnly. Geez, I never realized how much pressure Sasuke leaving actually left on them. Then there's Naruto's promise to Sakura. Kakashi suddenly realized something. Hey, Sakura, did anyone come with you? Oh yeah, about that. Sakura giggled in embarrassment. I kinda knocked out Neji, Lee, and Sai so that they wouldn't interfere. Naruto and the others sweat dropped while Akamaru yipped. Kiba rose an eyebrow. Akamaru says he smells them up ahead. Good thing you left them on an easily accessible route. Kakashi grinned. It's an open path with 3 unconscious teen boys in their prime laying there in the middle of a pretty well-traveled road, knocked out by a comrade. Woe is me, you could have ruined them, Sakura. Sakura blanched for a moment before panicking. I didn't think of that. What if something actually happened? It'll be all my fault. Naruto poked her cheek to calm her, cheered up by everyone's antics. He grinned. It's fine, Sakura-chan. He stopped at Neji's body and kicked him in the side. The Hyuga groaned and rolled over, swatting the blonde away. 5 more minutes. Naruto facepalmed. So much for the graceful, uptight Hyuga Neji. Hiba kicked Sai in the side while Akamaru innocently lifted his leg and peed on Lee. Sakura grimaced. Kiba, a cam. Hey, don't mind him. Those two have some grudge thing going on. I have no idea why or how, but you know. Kiba remarked casually as Sakura administered the 3 on the ground the antidote to wake them up. It took a couple minutes, but soon everyone was on the move. What happened at the conference, Hokage-sama? Neji asked curiously, trying not to stare at Lee's smelly bowl cut. The boy was bouncing around as if nothing was wrong. Naruto shot the Hyuga a grin. That's a secret, Neji. Kiba and Sensei aren't allowed to tell you either. What? Neji looked upset. So not fair. Sai glanced at Neji cautiously. Neji-san, you're not acting normal. He said bluntly. Sakura giggled. He's sulking cause I one-upped him. He doesn't like being beat by girls. Lee nodded vigorously, drops flying everywhere and causing the others to dive for cover, but he took no notice. It is true. Tenten always tells me the same when Neji sulks that is the reason. Kakashi rolled his eyes, flipping a page in the book he'd only just taken out. How he read with someone on his back was beyond them. Oh great, a pumsing Hyuga. Naruto crossed his arms and blinked in surprise. Wait, what? Kakashi looked at him weirdly. I said that Neji here was PMS. Yeah, I heard you. Naruto interrupted. My clone just got dispelled is what I meant to say. I have another meeting with the Kage a week from now in Kumo. Perrin woke up at this. Really? Lee peered at her and the redeed fell onto the ground, screaming and scooting back as he got in her face. Naruto-kun, who is this youthful stranger? Actually, Naruto said thoughtfully, I'm not really sure. She works with Sasuke though. Perrin harshly pushed the spandex-clad teen away from her and slowly stood up, dusting off her clothes and giving a haughty hair flip before giving Naruto a sexy smile, but the blonde only gave her an odd look. I'm Uzumaki Karen and I worked with Sasuke-kun. Not anymore. Kakashi nodded at her. Ah, I see. Sai analyzed her looks. Uzumaki. You don't look like Dikla-sama. Naruto growled at Sai. Ass. Actually, Sai is right. Sakura narrowed her eyes in thought. Naruto, didn't you say that the Uzumaki clan was wiped out? The blonde nodded. That's what my parents said, although Ka-san thought some others could have escaped and gone into hiding. Sai froze. Dickless, is Danzo dead? Naruto nodded happily. Sasuke killed him, so you're free now, asshole. As they continued to chat and head towards Konoha, Kakashi would keep shooting Karen glances whenever no one was looking, and Naruto was doing the same. Both had the same thought running through their heads. She seems familiar. I am positive that Danzo escaped to Iron Country. Homura stated. Fiharu agreed. Hokage-sama is there, and Danzo most likely wanted to get intel on the Kage. Depending on who met up with him and how the summit went, I honestly don't believe that we'll be seeing him again. Vendikus, I admit that you two must be right. The elders glanced at the door as the Jounin commander entered. Shikaku. What is it? Shikaku sighed. The remaining forces of Root practically showed up at my front door. They're upset about something. Fiharu-sama, Homura-sama. Fiharu frowned as she took notice of one Root agent standing there near the door. Speak of the devil. The agent looked nervous. Has there been any word from Danzo-sama? Shikaku looked incredulous. Danzo is a traitor of the Leaf, and although we've been tracking him, why would we tell you anything? Root agents have been marked as traitors too. Then why are we allowing him to stand here? Homura muttered. Fiharu scoffed at him. Look at the chaos they're in, they aren't causing any problems. Without Danzo they have no purpose. Shikaku remarked. Seeing that they weren't any help and knowing better than to get caught, the Root agent disappeared. In the hidden base the agent gathered near a couple others. The elders and Shikaku-sama wouldn't give out any information, but they didn't seem to know anything. Another Root shrugged. Perhaps we should just ask Sai. He was headed for Iron Country too with Haruno Sakura, Hyuga Niji, and Rock Lee. The normally emotionless men shivered as they thought of Lee and his sensei. The first agent nodded. Alright, find Sai and order him to report all that he saw while in Tetsu no Kuni. A, B, Shai and Dari approached the gates of Kumo, where the citizens stood in wait with Team Samui at their front. We're back. A grumbled, glaring at the trouble his brother had caused. Dari and Amoy waved frantically. B-sama. B nodded at his students in acknowledgement. It's been a while, Amoy, carry. He began doing odd motions with his hands. Been keepin' healthy, happy-go-lucky, cheery. Amoy clenched his fists, waterfall tears running down his face. How could we? Do you know how worried we were when you suddenly disappeared from the village? Dari was smiling happily as she turned to Amoy. It's alright, he's been okay this whole time. Mabui bowed, clipboard at her side. Welcome back, Reikage-sama. She straightened. I know that it's short notice, but we'd like to hold a meeting on the details of what went on during the Gokage Summit. Ari scratched his cheek, sighing. Aw, no downtime. We can't be getting too laid back. Shai reprimanded. The situation is only getting worse as we speak. What do you mean? Amoy straightened worriedly. Shai gave the younger male a sympathetic look. The Fourth Great Shinobi World War. Samui's eyes widened. So not cool. Yeah. Shai nodded. An allied shinobi force has been formed. A sent his subordinate a warning glance. We will further discuss this at the meeting. He began walking into the gate but paused by Mabui. Also, we need to notify the daimyo. She nodded dutifully. I'll request an audience with him. Amoy noticed the thing on his sensei's back and ran up to him. Huh? B-sensei, what is that? He waved it off. Just something I got after fighting one of the 7 swordsmen. He looked back at the sword with a grin. It's grown pretty fond of me and it won't detach. Perry and Amoy leaned in while the latter kept talking. Whoa. So this is one of the 7 shinobi swordman's blades. Sugoi. Carrie exclaimed. You really are amazing, B-sama. I am, right. B smirked as they walked. But first I gotta answer to this fool. Inside the grinning mouth of Samahata 2 eyes opened and a malevolent smirk twisted Kisum's shark-like face. Deep in Iron Country Black Zetsu was hard at work burying the full Zetsu clone. Well, not so much of burying it as he was eating it, the creepy cannibal. His white half appeared out of the ground. So, White Zetsu began, did you record the fight? Or get Samahata. The Hichibi took it. Black Zetsu bit into the flesh. White Zetsu eyed the clone. I see. That means. Black Zetsu nodded. Yes. It means that everything is going according to the plan. Kisum sure is something. He is. I wonder what he tastes like. White Zetsu wondered and the two shared a knowing look. He tastes like fish. They burst open the doors. Alright. Now we must deal with the daimyo. Mabui nodded. Of course. Make sure you make use of the little time we have, all of you. She warned. Irakid shot a look at his brother. That means you, B. He froze from trying to escape. What's up, brother? A frowned. You already understand, don't you? The Hichibi Jinchuriki held out his hand. I got it down, so there ain't no need for that frown. Yeah. Everyone just stared at him before turning and walking away in the other direction. Things have really gotten bad, haven't they? Carrie grimaced. Amoy nodded. No kidding. A great ninja war? Geez. It'll be an open war, so that means that new guys like us, with no combat experience, will be deployed on the front lines. We'll be completely destroyed by those mysterious Akatsuki guys. Amoy got out a sucker to calm his nerves. But since we're all fighting for our lives out there, I'll do my best. Although their counterattack might be so bad that I cry, that's all. Plus, Carrie, after you die. Harry bristled, grabbing the teen by his shirt and pinning him against the wall. Who said that I was gonna die, you jerk? Amoy frowned. Well, it's war, so. No time to make love, we gotta shove, yo. B interrupted, making the two blush as they took notice of what they must look like. They quickly separated and got on either side of their sensei. Now, let me put your worries at ease with a deep rap, baby. The two only stared in mute horror. UHHH, we went through all of that and we're still not home. Kiba complained. I mean, the Reikage is a rude muscle Y asshole, the Tsuchikage is an old bat, Gara is just plain creepy, and the Mizukage well, she's hot. He finished as an afterthought. Naruto twitched in annoyance. Kiba, stop bitching. Why won't you shut up? Kiba glared at the blonde. I ain't always bitching. Sakura and Ino do more than me. Sai laughed. Naruto does it about as often as you, Kiba. Niji nodded, muttering an. Ain't that the truth? Naruto glared at Sai. Geez, no one's on my side here. Sakura stomped the ground, making a crack form and tripped Kiba, who grabbed onto Naruto's cape to right himself, only to pull the Hokage down with him. They both glared up at the innocent-looking Pinket. What? You two were asking for it. Naruto pushed Kiba off of him. Get off of me, idiot. Kiba pushed Naruto back. You're the idiot, idiot. Lee tried to calm the two. Kiba. Naruto-kun's Hokage now, don't show such. Arg. You did not just fart in my face. Kiba shrieked, doubling back. Naruto held his nose, eyes watering as he gagged. It wasn't me who farted, dog breath. Then who was it? I didn't do it. All eyes turned to Akamaru, sitting obediently with his tail wagging. He looked so adorable, so cute, then a visible green cloud formed behind him, and everyone freaked. Ah. Kiba, what are you feeding him? I can't breath. Karen giggled as she eyed Naruto and Kiba trade insults while choking on the polluted air. This Naruto is so different from Sasuke-kun. He's so happy, so open, and his chakra is so warm and bright. Actually, it feels like it's connected to mine. How is that possible? She focused harder but suddenly felt a cold chill permeate her body. It's so cold, but it's entering his coils and purifying through his chakra. The dark one has to be Kyuubi's. How is Naruto's chakra so strong that it can tame the most evil beasts? He really is something. Everyone paused when three rude agents landed in front of them. One stepped forward as Sai did the same. Sai, you better tell us what's going on. Who are these guys? Kiba asked as he stood. Erut Anbu. Kakashi responded, book gone. Sai nodded at the three. You must have realized it by now. The curse seal Danzo-sama had printed on us is now gone. Erut frowned. Danzo-sama has died. Hi. What about his bodyguards, Fu and Torn? Sai shook his head. I don't know about them. We didn't see them there. The Root exchanged unsure glances. When we return to Konoha, we should discuss the future of Root with Hokage-sama. Alright. They nodded. Naruto shrugged. Why the hell not? I'll get straight to the point. A said seriously. He was in Kumo's council room. The villages of Kumo, Konoha, Kiri, Suna and Iwa, along with the 5 great nations and the samurai from the Iron Country, have formed an allied shinobi force. I am here to seek your approval. Why are you being so frank, Reikage? The daimyo asked. It's no secret that there's animosity between you shinobi. Yet you say there will be an allied shinobi force. Explain your reasoning. Mabui bowed her head. The Bijuu. The Bijuu? The daimyo repeated curiously. An organization known as Akatsuki has gathered 7 of the 9 Bijuu, Shai replied. and declared the start of the Fourth Ninja War. The daimyo's eyes widened. Go on. Shai nodded. The two remaining Bijuu are Konoha's Kyuubi and our Hachibi. We have no choice but to work together. This will not cause backlash on Kaminari no Kuni, will it, Reikage Dono? The daimyo inquired. A frowned. The war will be so taxing that we may not even have enough power to protect the various daimyos. Everyone straightened and the daimyo looked over at Kumo's leader. Very well, Reikage. I will approve your alliance. Then please call for a daimyo summit. A declared. The daimyo rested his cheek on his hand. A daimyo summit. That is a very difficult thing to arrange. The Hokage would have no problem getting his daimyo to comply and the others couldn't be too difficult. Onagai. A pleaded and the people at his sides all bowed their heads. I guess my hands are tied, then. The daimyo sighed. I'll go along with your request. Yes sir. As the Reikage walked with Mabui, Shai, and Derry in the streets, several shinobi stopped to bow. A was talking. The daimyo approved our proposal. Now we can officially prepare for war. Understood. I will begin all of our arrangements. Mabui responded. Hopefully the other countries begin preparing right away as well. Shai muttered. Eri nodded. Konoha and Suna will have some delays, considering their ages and inexperience with war. Those are their matters. A added. We must prepare for war immediately. He looked up as he heard cheers coming from a balcony of one of the buildings. What is that? Mabui grimaced. I have no idea. Up on stage B fist pumped, shouting out a yay. In the crowd Kari and Amoy were jumping and grinning as they cheered with many other Kumo residents. To my fellas. Lay your worries on the ground and keep 'em down. Yeah. My rap is full of deep rhyme and sound, baby. Yay. Check it. He pointed. I pimped my vocals and added even deeper lyrics thanks to Kin-chan. Say hello to my new anchor rap, Kasaku. Tears streamed down his face as more cheers erupted. Yay. Thank you all. Why you dropkick? Everyone was silenced as their Reikage impacted B with his leg from an amazing height and speed. Dust billowed up as the two were pushed through 3 levels of the building before hitting the ground. A had his foot on B. You never learn, do you? B coughed. Bro, your kick has one sick deliverance. It's murderous, he groaned as A pushed his foot harder onto his cheek. Really now, a rap concert while we prepare for war? B looked innocent. Why of course, bruzza. A looked defeated. Only you, B. Only you. Bam, my body still hurts. Sleeping on the ground sucks. Naruto glanced at the complaining Kiba, who leaned up against a boulder. Kami, Kiba, why don't you ever shut up? Parent smirked. I kinda agree with the Hokage over there. So do we. Everyone chorused. Kiba sniffed. So me Nakamura nuzzled his master's hand. Odds, Kiba, did you hear what we just said? Sakura muttered in annoyance. Of course I did. Kiba scoffed, pointing at his ears. Advanced hearing. I'm an Inyazuka, duh. Niji stood and brushed off his robes. Okay then, Inyazuka. I dare you to stay quiet until we get back to Konoha. But you can talk if it concerns our lives. Kakashi added as they all began to walk. Kiba nodded in determination and was about to shout about how he wouldn't back down before realizing that would mean talking and instead just nodded. Naruto snickered at the brunette. I don't think that Kiba will actually manage to do it. Sai sighed hopelessly. It's Inyazuka, of course he won't. Lee bounced on his toes. Yosh. If we don't make it back today I shall do 50 laps around the village on my ears. Everyone looked at him weirdly while Karen rolled her eyes. Freak. Naruto looked thoughtful for a moment before pulling out scrolls and summoning a few toads. He gave them a grin. Okay guys, I'm counting on you. Hi, Naruto Niasen. The toad saluted before hopping off. What was that for? Sakura asked. Naruto grinned more. I'm sending some messages to the other villages since we're all allies now. I wrote them before I went to bed. Pretty smart, huh? Sakura rolled her eyes. Sure. Akatsuki have the Bijuu, so we can't stand by anymore. Also, their leader is Uchiha Madara. We need to strike him with everything we've got. I know. A laid-back looking daimyo replied to the others. One glared through the screen. Then why don't you approve it already? Are you saying that it would be just as fine to lose this war? But, an allied shinobi force. What do we do if the shinobi get too much power and try to do something in the future? Do you really distrust your nation's shinobi that much? First of all. No, a person that worked on keeping the video conversation going asked timidly, could you please come to a decision soon? The battery is running out. It's not easy transmitting this council over such long distances. The battery was on the final bar, blinking. The lightning daimyo coughed. Let's make a decision. Lightning approves. The earth daimyo nodded. As previously mentioned, so does earth. Wind also approves. The wind daimyo supplied. It should be fine, Hokage Dono is trustworthy. The fire daimyo murmured. Fire also approves. The water daimyo sighed in resignation, looking weary. I understand. Water will approve. The person grinned as he worked the screens. Well, then the formation of the Shinobi Alliance has been approved. With monitors on record, I, Tenga, will serve as the witness. And the elemental country's greatest army came to be. Thank you, Daimyo-sama. The cameraman bowed. The transmission is over. The fire daimyo sighed in visible relief, fanning himself. Ah, it's finally over. His fan snapped closed. Now we need to contact Konoha and Hokage Dono at once. Darling. The daimyo's wife, Madame Shijimi, ran in, eyes wide. Have you seen my sweet darling, adorable Tori-chan? I can't find him anywhere, and I must. He could be starving, or worse, his bow has fallen off. The daimyo looked hopelessly at his guard. And asked if they can spare a genin team to find Tora. Sakurino murmured. I wonder where she is right now. Taoji bit into his food happily. Lee, Niji, and Sai are with her. She should be fine. Ino looked at him worriedly. But. Well, worrying about it isn't gonna help them. Shikamaru yawned. He looked up at the sky in time to notice a bird circling from above. Did something happen? Boy, Shikamaru. Huh? Said Chunin and looked down from his perch to see his father standing there. Can I talk to you for a bit? Dad? And Suna, a shinobi shouted out happily through the high winds that blew sand over. Kazuki-sama has returned. Ack. He bent over, coughing as sand got in his throat. As shinobi ran to meet them, Tamari sighed. You've received the letter from Tabamaru, right? The shinobi nodded. Hi, Lady Tamari. Have you received any reports from the daimyos? Kankuro asked. Yes, just a moment ago. The advisor responded. It seems they voted unanimously in favor for it. Tamari glanced at her brothers. That was faster than expected. Kankuro nodded. Then again, this isn't a small problem. Even those lazy daimyo have to get their asses in gear. He smirked. It's gonna get busy. We will have a meeting at once. Gaara declared. Call for the village superiors. Welcome back, Mizuki-sama. Earlier, we received a report from Daimyo-sama. A shinobi reported. Now nodded. Let's hear it now. Yes sir. The shinobi saluted. The daimyos of the 5 great nations have approved the Shinobi Alliance. Mei smiled. Is that so? That's good to hear. Ao commented. Tajiro gave a small smile. Hi. We have to hurry and make preparations as well. Mei decided. Nonetheless, it was great that we secured the Hachibi before he fell into enemy hands. Ao stated. Also, during the fight, Akatsuki member Hoshigaki Kisame was killed. It was good that we managed to get down some of the enemy's war potential before it could break out in full force. He crossed his arms in satisfaction. Reikage-sama sure is something. Tajiro glanced solemnly at the ground. Hoshigaki Kisame was the man known as the Tailless Bijuu really defeated. Ao looked at the younger male in concern. Is everything alright, Chijiro? The swordsman raised his hands. No, it's fine. Ao leaned forward. You look down. Are you hungry? Ao straightened. Yosh. I'll treat you to some food. Tajiro blinked. What? Of course, the menu will be tonkatsu. Ao nodded in thought. It'll give you strength before the war. Mei's visible eye glowed red. Tonkatsu marriage hunting. Tajiro held his stomach. I'm not too fond of oily foods. Ao shook his head in disappointment. What a pitiful thing to say. If you keep that tone, then you're going to fail at a critical moment. The Mizukage's eyes twitched. You're going to fail marriage hunting. Ao continued talking. It's times like these when you should listen to your senpai. Huh? He looked over as his leader leaned in near him. Mei smiled, eyes closed, a piece of hair falling out of place. Shut up, or I'll kill you. What did I do? Already? Kuretsuchi exclaimed. Akatsuki nodded. Seems like the daimyos were quick to decide when they heard about the Bijuu and Madara. Kuretsuchi smirked. The Bijuu, sure, but that Madara guy is someone from a long time ago, right? Wouldn't he be an old geezer by now, like you, Jiji? Inoki twitched while Akatsuki responded. He sure didn't look like one. Kuretsuchi leaned down into her grandfather's face. Hey, I wonder who's suffering from old age more. Him or our own geezer? Tsuchikage sighed, closing his eyes. For crying out loud, the ignorant sure have it easy. His granddaughter sobered, looking unsure. But seriously, war? I have no idea what it's like. Inoki opened one eye to look at her as she stood. This is gonna be tough. Seems as though most of today's shinobi are just a bunch of brats who know nothing of real battle. Akatsuki gave a good-natured smile. And yet a certain someone was talked down by 2 of those brats. Inoki twitched as he remembered the retreat and blonde. Well, I guess I'll just have to see for myself what these brats are made of. Ara, Tamari, and Kankuro sat in the council chambers, the latter not wearing any makeup, war paint. All were dressed in formal outfits. An advisor began. According to the report, it was quite a rough summit, wasn't it? Baki frowned. I can't believe that such a classified, high-security meeting was so easily breached. But that is the extent of Akatsuki's reach. Gaara explained. They showed us that they could easily sneak into our meetings and throw us into chaos. Baki stiffened. Let us hear the details. Right after the start of the summit, they appeared suddenly, with no warning. Gaara responded. We encountered Uchiha Sasuke and his ultimate defense, Susanoo, that put mine to shame. An advisor stood in panic, slamming his hands down. Preposterous. An ultimate defense more advanced than Kazuki Ujisama. Himari rolled her eyes. That's what he just said. It's probably a Dijutsu formed from the Manjikyu Sharingan. Gaara's eyes narrowed. Then after splitting us up he headed for the assembly hall. He was after Danzo, who had shown up to talk but disappeared when Sasuke got there. Mizukage Dono fought Sasuke, then Tsuchika Ujisama joined in. That was when Madara showed up to talk. I can't believe that 4 Kage were unable to kill Uchiha Sasuke. An advisor scoffed. This is the power of Akatsuki. Another said. Baki glanced at his one-time student and now leader. And why did they attack the Gokage summit? Was it to show off their strength? Based on their actions, it's not definite that Uchiha Sasuke's and Madara's goals are the same. Gaara said. Though it seems that Madara planned to take the 5 Kage hostage to exceed his plans. An advisor stood. As hostages? What arrogance. Baki's eyes narrowed. What is Madara's plan? He called it Project Tsuki no Mei. Gaara responded. Starting with Maichibi, he has gained possession of the Bijuu up to Nanabi. He continued to outline the plan. The world without reserve or dispute, I think that's what he said. Kankuro added. Baki slammed his fist down. Ridiculous. That would mean the end of the world. Exactly. Gaara rested his chin on his hands. That is why we must do all in our power to stop it. That is why we formed the allied shinobi forces. Shikamaru stood in front of his 2 teammates, Ino glaring at him while hissing. Did you just say that Sasuke attacked at the Kage summit? Inara slouched. It looks like they're going to make it public shortly. The village elders are all in disarray over the news. Toji held up a fist. So, Sasuke's now a member of the group that destroyed Konoha. This is really going to be troublesome. Shikamaru muttered. In the weapons storage room, shinobi ran around like headless chicken. They were polishing weapons, counting explosive notes, documenting scrolls, etc. Ao ordered them around. These are Mizukage-sama's orders. Perform an inventory on our weapons stockpile right away. Make a list of whatever we're missing. One shinobi was grumbling to his companion. Allied or not, there's no way I'm working with any from Iwa, Jai. You said it, Tokajai replied. Akatsuki is a destructive force that brought the destructive power of the 4th Mizukage on our land. Those Iwa bastards have used Akatsuki time and time again. These may be orders, but I don't see Ganryu-san following through with them. Toka muttered. You sure are being thorough, Kankuro. Tamari commented, holding her nose as she noticed the pungent smells of poison and chakra polish. These are famed masterpieces of legendary puppeteers, Tamari. Kankuro retorted, screwing some joints together on one. I can't let those who control them before me down. But what are you up to? He asked as the puppet's fingers twitched. Tamari sighed. I just sent out a whole bunch of messages to the shinobi who are all out on missions. I still can't believe he murdered Danzo. Kankuro glanced up at his older sister for a moment. You mean Uchiha Sasuke? I suspected he would, but he's nearly fallen as low as you can get. Still, he didn't seem to agree, did he? He's never been one to give up. Tamari gave a fond smile. And honestly, ever since he saved Gaara from being some psycho and stayed in Suna during his training trip, I've seen Naruto as a little brother. Kankuro nodded with a grin. Yeah, I see that idiot as a little brother too. Both glanced at each other and glared. You won't speak of this to anyone. Outside the room, Gaara chuckled. Yeah, I see Naruto as family too. He entered the room. No matter who it is, Naruto will try to save them from the darkness. Gaara? Tamari asked in surprise. Yeah, but now it's Sasuke who is caught in the darkness. Kankuro frowned. This time might be different. Gaara nodded. Then it is up to Naruto and his responsibility as a friend. But now he has Konoha counting on him too. Tamari added. That is true, and both me and Naruto will do everything in our power to protect our villages and this world. The declaration was made. Look, it's another black kite in the sky. Mogi pointed out. Konohamaru nodded. How many has that been now? Mogi turned to her teammate. Who cares about that, Konohamaru-kun? She glowered. Anyway, when is boss getting back? We finally got him a spot in the Konoha Heroes newspaper. She said as she looked at the newspaper sitting on the tree trunk in between them. His interview is the main part. He said he'd be right back when us three talked to him. Konohamaru complained. He said he'd teach us something cool, too. They turned to look as Yuden ran up. Konohamaru. I just heard someone say boss is back. The three grinned. Team Asuma were standing at the gates when the group walked up with an oddly silent Kiba. Ino creased her brows. Sakura. Sakura smiled. We're back. My dad told me about what Sasuke did. Shikamaru said bluntly. Karen, Sakura, Naruto, and Kakashi frowned. Yeah. Naruto muttered. I fought him. Team Asuma's eyes widened. You fought Sasuke. I'll tell you more later. For now, can you guys gather everyone and meet me at the new Ichiraku's in a couple hours? I have to get to a meeting and practice with Bachan. Naruto asked. Shikamaru nodded. Got it. Boss. Mogi shouted as Team Abisu ran up. We've been waiting for you. Konohamaru added. Naruto grinned. What's up, you guys? Once we get your interview, the hero's newspaper will be complete. Yuden sniffed. Mogi pulled on his sleeve. Nah, can we interview you, Oyabun? Naruto nodded, a mischievous smirk on his face. Yeah, I'll let you meet with us at Ichiraku's later with Hanabi-chan, but you guys have to call me something other than boss. Niji nodded. Yes, you have to show res. You have to call me either Nai-sen or senpai. Naruto declared with a thumbs up. Niji almost cried. I know how Shino must feel. The three nodded with admiration clear in their eyes. Hi, Nai-san. Eren watched the interaction with a small smile. Whenever people are around Naruto, they're happy. He makes you feel safe. Naruto stormed into Tsunade's new home, fuming. Those assholes. Even after all this, they still want to, why can't they just arg? Tsunade shot the blonde a sympathetic glance from the table where she was reading a scroll. Civilian Council. Naruto nodded, slumping into a chair. Yeah, I straightened them out though. They had to know that I'm the one in charge now. A job. The Senju smiled evilly before tossing Naruto a huge thick book. Now this is what we're working on today. Naruto looked at the cover but had to blow off the dust before his eyes widened. A dictionary. Bachan, you can't do this to me. I can and I will, Gaki. The older blonde retorted. You may have read all those scrolls that the Uzumaki had and soaked up all the info like a sponge, but you obviously didn't work on vocabulary. Now have some clones get through that tonight because me and you are going to be working on Reconstruction some more. Naruto sulked, dropping the book on the floor and resulting in a huge bang. Clones popped into existence. Hi. Let's get this over with. Okay, Tsunade started, laying the scroll she was reading down so he could see. These are all of the new layouts of Konoha. We've installed the new bunkers you planned. There's a tunnel you enter on the Hokage monument using the chakra key you installed. Anyways, the tunnel goes deep underground. Good. Naruto nodded, thinking. Can you have them set up cots, along with stocking the bunkers up with supplies, food and weapons? We'll use the bunkers when Konoha is attacked and if need be live there, which is why I want them set up to house all of the villagers and shinobi. Great thinking, Brett. Tsunade praised at his grin. How's your other plans going? I've got clones at home working on developing seals that could help us. Naruto said. I've got the Inyazuka working on scouting out what Akatsuki's bases are, along with some Hyuga helping them. The other Hyuga are working on cures for chakra disrupting jutsu like the Jayuken, so they know what to do in the case that happens. The Akamichi are getting our food stocked, correct? She nodded. The Nara are strategizing. Wow, that's a new word I just learned. Attack plans, while the Yamanaka are finding ways to strengthen the mine's barriers in case shinobi are captured. Wow, you sure are thinking ahead. Tsunade said in astonishment before grinning. Now, as your Hokage, I have to do something against your will. Naruto rose a brow, hiding his fear at her evil look. What is that? Tsunade clapped her hands together. You need a personal bodyguard. Come on out. An Anbu with long purple hair and a cat mask appeared, bowing to her superiors. You summoned me, Tsunade-sama, Hokage-sama? She asked. The Senju nodded. Yes, Anbu codenamed Nico. You were assigned as the Rakudame's personal bodyguard by the council, correct? Hi. Nico responded, turning and bowing to Naruto. I will guard you with my life, Hokage-sama. Naruto gave an awkward laugh. You don't have to be so formal, Nico-chan. Just call me Naruto. Nico paused. Of course Naruto. He grinned at her before looking at Tsunade. So Bachan, am I free to go? Tsunade sighed but waved him off. Sure, but make your clones bring the dictionary home to read it. I don't want a bunch of yous running around while I try to sleep. Naruto stood and gave a salute. Hi, Basama. Let's get out of here, Nico-chan, to Ichiraku's. Hi. The Godame rubbed her temples. At least you'll get Yuga back to herself. She never was the same after Gekko Heisen's death, was she? She shook her head. She told me she saw Naruto like a little brother since she had to guard him when he was young. A bond would be formed. Nico-chan, so slow. Naruto whined as the Anbu finally appeared at Ichiraku's. Nico panted. Well, I can't use the Hiraishin like you can, Naruto-sama. Naruto humphed. Come on then, guard. I have things to discuss, yeah, that's the word. And he walked in with Nico following. The blonde looked around the now huge restaurant in wonder before he heard his name called. Boy, Hokage-sama, over here. Lee called happily as Naruto sat down, Yuga close by him. He was quite surprised to see Karen talking with Hanabi. Shikamaru yawned. So, what is it you wanted to talk about? How could Sasuke have done that? Choji asked. Shino nodded. Yeah, it's illogical. Akamaru whined. Naruto frowned, leaning back and crossing his arms. I'd like for you guys to leave Sasuke to me, Sakura-chan and Kaka-sensei. Oh, by the way, Karen-chan, why are you here? Karen blushed as everyone looked at her. I told the intel department everything I knew about Sasuke and Akatsuki. She gestured at Nico. Why is she here? Nico inclined her head. I am the Anbu codenamed Nico. Nico-chan is my personal bodyguard. Naruto explained. Now let us continue. Tenten punched the table. Deal with Sasuke yourselves. Are you crazy? We can't let you guys do it alone. Ino added. Tenten and Ino are right, Hokage-sama. Shino agreed. We can't indulge your stubborn attitude. Why? Because this is a major problem for the entire village. Naruto grit his teeth while Sakura retorted with. We're not being stubborn, he's our teammate, we'll know what to do. You said that you had something to tell us, and this is it. Niji frowned. Most of us are ready to kill Sasuke. Shikamaru's eyebrows furrowed. I hope you guys really do know what you're doing and that it won't affect anyone negatively. Sai frowned. Are you going to kill him? You could have got him when he was weak, but Ugly told me what happened during your encounter. Sakura twitched but ignored the jab. We already have a plan. But it involves me fighting Sasuke. Naruto finished. Kiba grinned. Go on. See you guys later. Tenten called as her team walked away. Aye. Ino shouted as she dragged Shikamaru and Choji the other direction. Sai left with a Shunshin, and Team Abisu plus Hanabi had left after getting Naruto's interview. Now it was Yugao, Karen, and Naruto standing there. Karen looked at Naruto hopefully. Naruto, can I ask you something? Naruto nodded. Yeah, I've been meaning to ask you something too. Both took a deep breath before saying it simultaneously. Why are you so familiar? Huh? Naruto asked before laughing. Karen giggled a bit too. Naruto grinned. It's just, you seem really familiar, like I should know you. I feel the same way. Naruto muttered. It's like our chakra connects. But how is that possible? Karen exclaimed. Each chakra is different, but when they connect it means that you two are related by more than just coincidence of last name. Nico finished as she turned to the blonde Hokage. Naruto, you said that there's a memory you can't grasp, correct? Why don't you go to Inoichi-san and have him push it to the forefront of your minds? Naruto shrugged. I guess so, we should also have Shizune Nichin do a blood test then. Let's get the blood test done first. Karen shivered, not fond of letting the Yamanaka intrude her mind again. Naruto touched her shoulder, and the three appeared in the new hospital. At once the secretary noticed the Hokage and rushed over. Rakudame-sama, what can I do for you? Naruto shot her a grin that made her blush. Think that you can get Shizune Nichin to give me and Karen-chan here a blood test? Oh, of course. I'll be right back. The nurse rushed away. Nico grinned beneath her mask while Karen giggled. Seems that you're popular with the girls, eh Naruto? Naruto blushed, scuffing his feet on the ground. Urusei. The nurse came back with Shizune in tow. Naruto-kun. The brunette exclaimed with a grin. Follow me, you three. They were practically pulled to the room. Karen sat down without hesitation in the chair while Naruto hesitated, only to be pushed into his seat by his surrogate older sister. Give me a minute. Naruto watched warily as she prepared the needles. Karen's blood was drawn first, and Naruto spoke up in a shaky voice. Shizune Nichin, I don't think I actually need one. Shizune giggled as she walked up to him, needle in hand. Don't be silly Naruto-kun. You wanted it done, and Karen didn't mind. The blonde paled as she wiped his arm off with alcohol wipes, then pressed down a bit to get the vein to show. He screamed when it pierced his skin, and the girls giggled. Shizune pulled back with a smile. There. All done, that wasn't so hard was it? Naruto blinked, face a little green. I don't feel so good. He mumbled before passing out. The others blinked before Karen got Shizune's attention. Can you see what blood relations me and him have? The brunette nodded. Great. When will we get the results? Karen inquired. About 2 days from now. Shizune responded as she cleaned up her station. Nico poked Naruto's cheek. Is he going to be alright? Shizune waved off the Anbu's concerns. He has a phobia of needles, that's all. He'll wake up in a minute. As if she had said the magic words, Naruto shot up and practically disappeared out of the room. Exchanging a glance, Nico and Karen waved goodbye to Shizune, and the Anbu shunshined them to the T&IHQ where Naruto stood, grumbling about evil needles and hospitals. Karen strolled past him, grabbing his arm and dragging him along. The shinobi would sent the three weird looks about to their Hokage. Nico led them to Inoichi's office and knocked on the door. "Yamanaka-san, Hokage-sama and Karen-san have a request for you." Inoichi opened the door and ushered the three in, giving them seats at the desk. "So what is it, Rakudame-sama?" Karen was silent, so Naruto spoke up. "Inoichi Jiji, can you give me and Karen a mind examination? We think that there are some hidden memories that we can't remember." Inoichi nodded, forming a hand sign. "I'll do it now. Dakushin Jutsu. AN mind reading, I think." The three slumped over. XXXXXXXXX. Inoichi looked around the area he found himself in. He saw that he was in some sort of huge sewer with a wall on his right and left, but the one on the right was solid. The left one was like a reflection, like water. Slowly, he reached out to touch it. How did that get there? Ah. Inoichi held a hand over his heart to see Naruto at his side, staring at the odd wall in confusion. "Damn it, Hokage-sama, don't give me a heart attack." Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Sorry about that, Inoichi Jiji." Inoichi accepted the apology and turned his attention back to the wall. "I've never seen this before in a mind. Out of all the times I've been in my mind, this was never here," Naruto admitted. "That must mean it's recent. Something must have triggered it," Inoichi murmured, trying to peer through the glass-like reflection. Naruto inched forward, putting a hand on it, only to fall through with a shout. Inoichi panicked. "Hokage-sama." He jumped into the wall and found himself standing on water. Both him and Naruto were standing on a pond in the middle of a huge grassy meadow. "Hey Karen-chan." Naruto shouted in surprise as he spotted her. The Rede jumped and ran to them, looking relieved. "Thank Kami I'm not alone." "Where am I anyway?" she asked Inoichi, hands on her hips. Inoichi shrugged. Naruto had been familiar with the sewers, as Jinchuriki could enter minds like the Yamanaka, but Karen couldn't, even as in Uzumaki. "I'm positive that this is your mind, Uzumaki-san." Naruto rose a brow. "Why was it connected to mine?" The older blonde grimaced. "I'm not sure. It could be due to you being a Jinchuriki. When I did the jutsu, two different parts of me were supposed to enter your mind separately. But as you can see there is one of me and we're all currently in Karen-san's mind." Karen flushed angrily. "I don't want two boys in my head." Naruto backed down, waving his hands frantically. "We won't do anything, we swear." Inoichi nodded. "We'll only do what we came here for. Trigger the memory you're both missing. With your minds somehow connected, both of you should remember." Karen calmed down. "Good, but now what?" "We look around for some kind of doorway," Inoichi responded. They split up and searched for a good amount of time until Karen gave a shout. "I think I found something." The two blondes came over to see her standing in front of a chain box. Inoichi gave it an appraising look. "Seems like we found it. Both of you, open it up at the same time. The chains should break." They nodded and grasped his side. Naruto took a deep breath. "Itchy." Karen readied herself. "Nai-san." Together they pulled open the chest and voices reached their ears. "What are you doing? Get away." "Why should I do that? She's mine now." "No. She is not your property." "What about both of them, then? Should I take two instead?" "Leave us alone. Don't do that. Get the fuck away from us." "Calm down, miss. I'll take care of them both just f. I hate you. I hate you. Damn it, I'm going to kill you. Give them back." "Nah miss. You're already dying from that poison you ingested. You can't take away the children, they're all I have left." "That's too bad. I guess that I'll just take one then. That should suffice." "You monster." "Goodbye miss." Naruto and Karen's eyes shot open wide and they were shivering as if something chilled them deep down. The cold spread goosebumps on their arms and caused their teeth to chatter. Inoichi woke up with a yawn. Nico rose an eyebrow behind her mask. "Did you manage to find anything?" Inoichi shrugged, looking at the shivering teens. "Did you?" Karen shook her head, close to tears. "We just heard voices." Naruto's fists clenched. "Who was that talking?" "I don't know." Karen murmured, rubbing her arms to create more heat. She was protecting two people from someone who was trying to take them away. "That's all that I could figure out." Naruto sighed, slumping down. "Damn, first Akatsuki attacks, then there is a war, and now we obviously have to find out something about our pasts. Stolen memories. Sasuke, how do you feel?" Sasuke clenched and unclenched his fists, a smirk masking his face. "I feel powerful." Madara nodded in satisfaction. "Good. Itachi's eyes will make you stronger than ever before." If you train your abilities enough, you will be able to get me the Kyuubi. Sasuke grit his teeth, glaring in the direction he heard Madara talk from beneath the bandages placed over his eyes. Of course. Madara smirked. All is going according to plan. Sasuke is now entirely in my grasp. Oh, but how wrong he was. What if Naruto stops Danzo from being Hokage? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.